Hello everybody and welcome to Norwood Oval. It's round 5 in the SANFL and today the Redlegs are at home against West Adelaide. The Redlegs sitting 7th on the ladder, 1 win from 3 games, not a good result for them. West Adelaide sitting 3rd on the ladder, 2 wins from their 3 matches. And remember, there's a fair amount of heat in this contest, given that it was West Adelaide that eliminated Norwood from last year's finals race with a 15-point win in the qualifying final. Stakes are high here today, a loss to the Redlegs, and they will dwell at the bottom of the ladder. A win for West Adelaide consolidates 3rd position for them, an important match in the SANFL match of the round. And joining us, Andrew Payes, the former Eagles champion wingman, and I guess you're looking forward to this one. It's going to be a tough clash.
Absolutely, David. I think both sides have showed glimpses of good form, and they're really looking to consolidate their position in the top 3 or 4 spots this year, along with the Eagles who meet Centrals at Woody Oval.
I suppose a couple of very important matches in this round in terms of the standings on the ladder.
Absolutely, and West Adelaide, they've showed glimpses of good form. They've had a bad loss to the Eagles at Woodville Oval, but yes, Norwood really need to lift today, and just to see where they're at this year.
Well, speaking of where they're at, let's go to the premiership table. This is after round 4. Port Adelaide undefeated, the only undefeated team in the competition, sitting on top of the ladder.
Well, Port and Sturt, they meet obviously on Anzac Day on Monday. That's going to be a battle of the Titans, and as we said before, the other sides, they're really jostling for 3rd and 4th spot. West, the Eagles, and of course Norwood today if they can get over the line.
Really not much between 4th and bottom, frankly, at this stage of the year.
You'd have to say that both Glenelg and North are the struggling sides, although we've seen Glenelg a couple of weeks ago and they showed some very good signs. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in that result today at Glenelg Oval.
Sturt have a terrific forward structure, 395 points for, but Port Adelaide have the best defence in the competition. That Monday afternoon clash should be a beauty. Join us. It will be live on the ABC as we go to the goal kickers. And Sam Philippou, the Port Adelaide full forward, sits on top with 16 goals.
Absolutely. We've got Julian Burton there on 14, so both of the spearheads there meeting on Monday.
If you were picking a full forward from the SANFL for a state team or for your own team best, would you go with Philippou or Burton?
Oh, well, I'd go for the form player in Philippou, apart from the fact that he's a very good friend of mine, but he's been in terrific form and his kicking's been spot on. O'Brien's been in very good form, and we see both him and Adam Richardson today here at Norwood Oval, and I think their form's going to go a long way to telling the result of today's clash.
Now, bottom there is Matthew Pavlich, who plays for the Eagles, not South, sitting on 8 goals. He's been important for the Eagles as they've shown some very good early season form.
Certainly has. First year player. He's been holding down centre half forward and obviously kicking goals, and he's a very, very exciting prospect. Very good.
As we come back to the head-to-heads between these two sides, they met in round 1 at Richmond Oval. We covered that one last year. Adam Richardson kicked 5 goals in that game. Nick Stevens kicked 2. Neil, Doreen and Malloy got a couple. But look at Norwood Oval. It's a 6-point game. Jim West got 6 in that match. Richardson got 5. And then we go to round 20 when Neil got 4 for Norwood in their 43-point win over West Adelaide. Miles got a couple. Adam Richardson went off with a cork thigh and really had no impact on that match. And in the qualifying final, it was Tony Modra with 2 goals, 3 who led the way for West Adelaide. Downsborough, Pitt and Doreen got a couple. If I'm correct, Paul McCormick got reported in that match. And even though Anthony Harvey got 40 possessions, Norwood couldn't win.
No, they couldn't win, but 40 touches, you'd have to think your chance, your side was a fair chance to win, but just goes to show there, if they shut him down today, then West Adelaide got a good chance.
Norwood, fresh off a good win last week against Central District, looked pretty strong. As we go to the lineups, it's important for them to get away to a good start today and fire up.
Certainly is. I mean, it's just a beautiful day for footy too, and if you have a look at the goal kicking potential both ends with Richardson and with O'Brien as well, what a great day for full forwards to kick a lot of goals.
Downsborough and Davey were named in the 23, and we now know that they are in the side.
I'm looking forward to a couple of real key matchups today. Odds there is likely to be opposed to Nathan Eagleton, who comes in from Port Power, and you look at the other goal scoring potential with Cotton and Downsborough, Norwood have got plenty of options.
As we go down to Michael Parsons on the boundary. Michael, the good news for Norwood, of course, is that Grant Tanner and Dale Fleming and Glenn Sanford have all got through in the reserves for the Redlegs.
Yes, it's a good sign for Norwood, isn't it? They have been a question mark this year after going down to North early in the year, and then another bad loss to Port in that night game, and then they've beaten Centrals, and I'm not sure how important a win over Centrals will be come the end of the year, and today is an important day for them. Borlase also out with a cork thigh. He didn't make it through today, but it is a good sign for the club when you've got that quality of player playing in the seconds. But today, David, it is an absolutely perfect day for football and an important one for Norwood.
Thank you, Michael. As we go to the coin toss, skippers are in the middle of the ground. Greg Mellor for West Adelaide. Anthony Harvey on the right for the Redlegs. Mellor wins, Andrew, an important one.
Absolutely, but really a day where the breeze is not going to play a part in it whatsoever. So I think either side who won the toss today, it's going to have little significance.
Mark Nayley joins us. Of course, the big news, Mark, for West Adelaide is that Nathan Eagleton is back after 44 consecutive games for the Power, back in the SANFL.
Yes, just lost a bit of form, playing with the Port Power, but back with the Bloods this afternoon. But look at that side, David, and also Andrew. It is a side full of quality players. Plenty of AFL experience. You look at Miles, you look at Richardson up there, Eagleton we spoke about. Symes has been around the club for a number of seasons now. Broon's been in magnificent form in the ruck line up there. De Rosser, a new player that's come across this year from Essendon. He's been in great form as well. Bank across there, ex-AFL player. Ed Richardson, a fullback, is just, or a centre-half back, fullback he plays as well. Swaps between him and Parker, but those two players have been very outstanding since they've both been moved into the back line. And don't forget, on the other wing, fellas, is Matthew Connell, also plenty of AFL experience. So West Adelaide this side today, I reckon it's their best lineup that they can field.
Absolutely. I just think another key thing with their lineup is their height in the forward line. If you have a look at Miles and Symes, Richardson and also Miller are all good key marking players, and on a small ground like Norwood Oval, I think the high marking player is going to play a real impact on today's result. So lots of options there.
And Sam Jones sitting on the interchange bench. There he is in screen, Big Sam, former St Kilda player, former Eagle here in South Australia, now with West Adelaide at 24, finally racks up 50 SANFL games.
Yes, he was one of those players that came from the Eagles and probably didn't get the opportunities he would have liked.
Now, you were there, Andrew. I've seen him for West Adelaide. His form has been either very good or very poor. The Eagles didn't seem to find a slot for him at all.
No, I guess he couldn't find any consistency either with us. But it just goes to show players do move from club to club from now on, and he's really found his niche at West Adelaide and played some good footy. Very, very versatile player, can play down back or up forward, and Michael Taylor will use him in all of those positions today, I think.
We mentioned Adam Richardson back today, and do West Adelaide need their full forward option?
Absolutely. He'll be looking forward to kick quite a few goals today. Perfect conditions to do that. And you have a look at Norwood's lineup down back. They probably haven't got anyone that can match up with him with his size and his strength. So they'll be looking to exploit him with some real run away from there.
Ian Downsborough to the right of screen. Just moving through, James Gallagher. He's been a pretty important runner for them this year as well.
He certainly has. He's one of their keys in their midfield. You've got Harvey along with himself and along with Todd Davey, an inclusion in their side, who really is an exciting player as well. So the ball's going to be won right down the forward line and in the midfield there as well.
Matty Dawes, number 13, Mark Nayley. We saw him last week against Central and pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's only a young player, Dave. He's only 19 years of age, played his first game last week. But he's one of those Norwood smaller players. But fellas, Norwood are just too short this afternoon. I know the weather is fine and the ground is very, very firm, but they really need to exploit it. If West Adelaide are going to win, they've got to use their height to their advantage. If Norwood are going to win, they just need to run the ball and keep it on the ground.
We might find out what the weather conditions are at ground level as we go back down to Michael Parsons. It looks pretty good from up here, Michael.
It is an absolutely fantastic day for football, David. Even you could get a kick out there today. I have never seen the Norwood Oval look in such good conditions. I remember playing here a couple of times midwinter. There wasn't a blade of grass for 6 inches of mud over the top, but they've done a lot of work on the ground, and it's a treat and it's a credit to the Norwood Football Club.
You've just slipped in beautifully. Doctor last week, Michael, a horticulturist today. Stay with us. We are live until 5 on ABC Sport. It's Norwood versus West Adelaide, live from Norwood Oval. Your commentator, Mark Nayley.
Yes, perfect conditions. We've heard about this. Number 5, we'll be rucking for the Bloods, will be Big Mark Stewart up against Jonathan Yerbury. Yerbury gets the advantage of the first tap. Coming out hard was Cunningham. Got the handball back. Doreen goes forward, looking towards centre half forward. Ball comes to ground. The Bloods are there to defend. Norwood need to start well. This is their home ground. They've got a chance here. Number 10 breaking through is Neil. I think he's put the first goal of the afternoon. He's pretty excited, Robert Neil. That's the first major. A great start for the Redlegs.
Have to be happy with that start. Straight out of the middle. I think we'd played about 30 seconds and there we go, straight through the middle. So Norwood looking for a great start at home, and what a way to go.
I think the real story there is the link-up of players, Mark. They just moved the ball quickly, and the running volume of players had just overwhelmed West Adelaide.
Yes, they're not a tall side, but just pressure. They kept the ball forward, they kept it alive, and they kicked the goals. The first major, they lead by 6 points. Back in the middle, Yerbury again with Stewart. Stewart beautifully down to De Rossa, who's taken by Bowman. Good thump from behind by Pitt. Again there is James. He's got support out wide. Matthew Broome intercepts, left leg on its way. Thank you, that's the answer. That's the reply. Matthew Broome's first major, Andrew. And the Bloods, they're a good side.
Just the reply that Bloods were after. The key there, the movement out of the middle. Norwood being such a small oval. Clean tap from the ruckman there to the running player. Broome read the ball beautifully off hands and more importantly finished superbly there.
Yes, a great effort there. Matthew Broome's been in sensational form since about midway through last year. And once again he's carried it on into the 1999 season. Again, we're back in the middle. Stewart again, he's just pushing the ball down to De Rossa. The Bloods go forward again. That's Twomey, couldn't quite take it. Andriski comes across. Again, Twomey's in there. Couldn't get the ball out there. Man in white will come in and throw it up. Just the Blood side of centre.
43 was Yerbury. For Norwood, 32 was Toomey, former Norwood player. So you'll think he'll get some curry out in the middle there today. There's no doubt about that. Stewart got the tap away. Loose ball falls back in the direction of the Norwood half-forward line. Cunningham couldn't take charge of the ball. Players crash through. Feeding it out was Bannock, a long handball. Lachlan Bowman over the top of it, harassed. Hobbs, slick handball. Over the top goes Harvey. It's Cunningham and Harvey combining. That's dangerous for West Adelaide. When they've got their game together, they are very dangerous. Downsborough ducked his head, didn't hold the pace. Doreen strong enough to get the ball out. Crouch flicked it further afield, but it was a throw, said the umpire, or a push. It was in the back. Well, I think he might have been a bit lucky because either way there was a free kick. Squares it up. Well done from defence. The big lumberer coming out was Howard. We'll check that for you. And loose ball, get. Well, that's Howard, so it couldn't have been him at the other end. Chubb it was. Thanks for that, Andrew.
Key match up there with Howard on Roger Dames. He'll be looking to get his hands on the footy today, and he'll be important to Norwood's role today.
This game has started at a electrifying pace. Players just throwing themselves at the football. It's great to see. Ground level again. Norwood needs support. They find it through Doreen. Doreen's taken a bit high, or received the free kick. A little bit high on by De Rossa. Then pushed De Rossa in the face. What will the umpire do? He just settles down, Scotty Doreen. He's got a player out wide, and James has found 10 metres. Chubb is at him. James, with beautiful skill, lays it out in front. Robert Neal had kicked the first major for the Redlegs, goes around his body, couldn't quite find the distance in cutting it off. As a big ruckman in Mark Stewart.
Like all big fellow, they take the hard way around. Parker over the top. Now this is better work for West Adelaide. I think that long kick out of defence is the right option. Yerbury couldn't quite take it. Play on, said the umpire, they're letting it flow, no question about that, as players dive in hard and go strong at it.
Oh, that's a silly decision.
Couple of key matchups, David. Michael Taylor opting to go defensive on John Cunningham, a key playmaker for Norwood, and that battle will be pivotal today.
Yerbury to Harvey is good play. Squares it up. They've obviously been told to play the corridor here. Jared Cotton feeds out the long handball to Couch, who's 60 out, and bends it back on the left boot, goes long to the square. Neil was up, one-handed attempt, couldn't take it, and West, the big ruckman, concedes the point.
Just notice Norwood there, they're coming inboard on all occasions, and really is the only way to go here at Norwood, being a small ground, kick the ball long, straight down the middle and create opportunities through there.
And Drisky to bring the ball back in for the Bloods. Bit of sunshine out there this afternoon. Goes down the middle of the ground, looking for his big ruckman and Stewart. Stewart and Yerbury go up for it. Down there at ground level, looked like possibly Harvey over the top of the football. It wasn't. It was number 38 for the Redlegs in James Gallagher.
Goes all right, that kid, Andy, doesn't he?
He does. Good
breeding,
pedigree.
fellas,
Good
yeah.
pedigree there with the Gallagher name out here, and he looks like he's certainly got plenty to offer. Another nippy little midfielder.
Good exchange of hands there. Finally comes up. James will cut it off. He does that beautifully. Goes wide with a handball, this time to Harvey. Gallagher puts the little bit of pressure on there on the West Adelaide defence. Goes up forward. Bannock a little bit, not Bannock, it was actually Neil. A little bit crude in his defence. It comes out wide. This is Toomey. Toomey gives it over. Good running there. Number 39 in Connell, Matthew Connell. Great courage and commitment shown by Howard. He plays on, lines them up, does Howard, and brings up his first major for the afternoon.
What a team-lifting goal for the Bloods there. Absolutely no regard for his own well-being there. Backed himself back into the pack, took the mark, finished beautifully on the left foot. What an inspirational goal then from Howard.
A rookie, Andrew, for the Crows.
Yes, he was.
He is.
Well, certainly is now, yeah.
Any likelihood of him being taken this year?
Well, I think the way they're going, they're probably at a stage where they probably will experiment a little bit, the Crows. And if he shows that sort of form and courage and finish, then he'll get his chance. He'll put his hand up this year.
Fair enough. Mark Stewart from the right for West Adelaide. Jonathan Yerbury in ruck for the Redlegs. Of course, no Aaron Keating this year. Vanished to Queensland. Yerbury takes the ball out of the ruck contest. A high bomb towards centre half forward. It's 2-on-1 for West Adelaide, and Ed Richardson did it beautifully. Gives the feed to the back door. Going around the corner was Matty Connell. Picks out Chubb beautifully. Connell rarely wastes a kick, and this one no exception. Chubb spears one forward to West, who tried to take the clean possession, couldn't. It's Jared Cotton conceding a little bit of ground to Cunningham. A long bomb, but a wasted one, and Ed Richardson drops into the hole.
Just not using the option short there, Norwood. Ian Downsborough probably had about 15 yards on his own, but they elected to bomb, and West Adelaide are just building the wall there and repelling every attack at the moment.
Toomey down the members' wing, puts it up high. Plenty of pressure on Miles there from Stephen Pitt. So Miles takes a good mark. Members' wing. Awkward kick. Hasn't quite found his direction. Clements comes up with it. Clements looking for a bit of movement. Downsborough's given him one. Over the top will come Miles. Couldn't quite get a chance here for Norwood to go forward through Cunningham. Cunningham takes one bounce, goes for his second. Inside 50, puts it on its ways. He brought it home. I don't think he has. Across the face of goals. Another behind to Norwood. They move on to 1-2.
Jamie Andriski caught out there. The ball went over the top. Cunningham was there. Andriski did the right thing. He went to the front of the pack. It spilled over the back, and Norwood had 3 players there. And that was just unfortunate for him.
You might check for us, Andrew, who's got the job on Harvey. I think Cunningham and Harvey, the two danger running players for the Redlegs. Gallagher left it for Cotton. Cotton concedes a little bit of ground, gives it to Downsborough. It was slick, wasn't it? Off it goes to Gallagher. A long bomb to the square. Well done, Matty Broon brings the ball forward, but Obb snares it, snaps for goal, but it's going to be a high ball, and it'll lob just inside the line. 2-on-1. Well done, O'Brien. Good contest. Tries to keep it in play, but concedes in the finish the point.
Well done by the Bloods there. They're desperate. They're getting back in numbers. Norwood are just bombing it in a little bit, but they've been desperate. And they'll have to be early here.
3-point margin. Favouring the Bloods. Ball comes back to Norwood again. They have a chance here to score it again. Good tackle, good pressure by the Bloods defence. It's a high ball. Who's jumping at it? Back there is Matty Connell playing across the half-back line this afternoon. Now, chance here for the Bloods to go forward. 25 is Ed Richardson, gives the handball across to DeRossa. DeRossa heads towards centre half forward. Coming out hard, number 4 was Mellor. Mellor still in there, over the top of Bowman. Bowman couldn't take it, comes out to Eagleton, goes across the top to Miles. Miles' right leg, should have brought the ball home, he didn't. Just terrible kick, Andrew.
Might have been an option there for Eagleton on his left foot just to have a ping at it too. He's normally good from that range. Elected to go there, and the guy was off balance when he kicked it.
Eagleton had to give it. Miles just had to finish.
That's all it was.
Well, on his left foot from that far out, he's normally a very, very good kick.
Fair enough comments, Andrew Pays. 308 game champion for the Eagles. DeRosa goes to the back door. Connell was slick to Bruin. They're combining beautifully. Oh, West, the big man, sold the dummy and goes from 60. It's a long bomb, but just to the left. He's a powerful kick.
Good zone and not a bad little dummy, a la Darren Jarman there, and he's launched it from about 55 out and didn't miss by far, so that was a good sign for him. It looks like he started confidently.
In his 4th game for the Bloods, Big Mark Stewart, very mobile, very similar in size and also build to his opposition number this afternoon, or his ruckman at least, in Yeobury. Nord, chance here. Good kick, good disposal. We'll head down the outer flank. Jumping at this will be good old Robert Neal. Neal wants to get around quickly. O'Brien gives the lead up forward.
Gee, when he's on, Mark, he's a dangerous player, isn't he?
Oh, definitely. As long as he keeps moving around, keeps working, we know he has plenty of experience. It's whether he wants to work. Good use of the body there by O'Brien. Couldn't quite take the mark. He has support. That's a great goal. A great build-up by the Redlegs. Scotty Doreen brings up his first for the afternoon, and Norwood fellas are back in front.
Put that one down to Christian O'Brien. Just held his ground. Sheer strength. And he's brought the ball to the front, recovered very quickly, which is a real asset of it, given it out and resulted in a goal for Norwood. And that was well done by O'Brien. Then just notice the kick out there, the designated kicker, and Roger James found the mark from the point, and the Redlegs moved it quickly downfield, which resulted in a goal.
Parker's a flyer. Doreen is a runner. As we go down to Michael Parsons on the boundary.
Yes, just to bring you up to date with the Pine Riders for the start of the game. Davey, Bowen and Malloy for Norwood, Bird, Jones and Ansell for West Adelaide. And fellas, it's clear that Norwood have got better foot speed than West Adelaide, and West Adelaide have got the size and strength. So it'll be very interesting to see who comes out on top come the end of this game.
Thanks, Michael. Doreen to Harvey is great play.
Looks like they've made a switch, or the fact that Andriski will just run with whoever's on the ball for Norwood. Notice there he's on Harvey before he was on Cunningham, so he's going to have a hard job running all day with those two. And here we see Harvey lining up for a goal.
The last time these two sides met was the qualifying final last year. Anthony Harvey with 40 possessions in that match. Couldn't get the Redlegs home, but today he's opened in fine style and goes towards goal. Oh, he's faded that right off to the right, and a bad miss.
He's just leant back on that. Would have been important for him. It doesn't kick a lot of goals to nail that one early, but it's just skewed off to the right. You see his opponent here kicking out, designated kicker.
And Drisky, long kick up forward again. Big thump over the back with some chub. Chance here, DeRosa as the running player inside. The chance to build up here for the Bloods. They go forward. A great kick.
Hodges,
and a good mark.
Hodges delivering.
Really no other option from the kick out from the point, just to go straight down the middle there. And they had runners through there and found him. It's a great kick.
Chance for Howard. He's got one major already in this game. He'll kick from outside 50. Puts it on its way, dragging it across to the left. Another behind to the Bloods. They move on to 2-3-15. Norwood, 2 goals, 4-16.
In other matches around town this afternoon, it's the Eagles and Central. 1 goal the difference there. And Glenelg have jumped North Adelaide. Well, North Adelaide had the same problem last week, got off to a slow start. As taking a good mark, Dion Miles squares it up into the middle. It's Toomey, he's got a runner wide. Uses DeRosa at half forward over the top as Bruin ignores him, now goes forward, but Crouch was quick enough to get back. Great play by Crouch, super anticipation.
It certainly was. Just saw there, he realised that Mellor was free, just made those extra yards, got a hand to it out of bounds. Fantastic stuff.
Ball be thrown, be contested with Timothy Symes up against Yeobury. Symes again takes it out of the air, then throws it onto his boot. Ball comes to ground. Toomey's in there. It'll be taken beautifully from behind. Which way did the umpire go here? Decides to ball it up.
That's a great tackle by Gallagher. Andy?
Not a big man in stature, but he certainly wrapped him up then. Remember my first tackle against a bloke called Max Parker. He was about 6'9", just about killed me.
Yeobury down to Cunningham, gives it back to Gallagher. Over his right shoulder, Gallagher goes. Great courage shown again by Miles, takes the mark. And we'll put the Bloods back inside 50. He goes back, thumps it on its way. Who's Dak there? Great mark. Big Ed Richardson. Adam Richardson, that is.
Said before the game that the marking players of West Adelaide were going to have an influence. Dion Miles has started very well with 3 marks, and we see here Big Ed Richardson, very, very difficult man to move, kept his eye on the ball, back into the pack and took a mark.
The tattooed one. He just goes back. A beautiful technique as Adam Richardson.
Show respect.
He really is a good full forward, a likeable character, both on and off the field. He puts it on its way. Has he got enough control? I don't think he has, but the umpires come back to the centre of the goal square. That normally gives you some sort of indication. That's his first major, and now the Bloods go back in front.
Seesaw affair. I think your comments inspired him. There's no way that was going to miss. Just see the beautiful day that it is, the marking ability of these forwards.
That's great courage.
Great technique.
Great courage, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You can see why he's a security officer, Adam Richardson. I don't think I'd be giving him too much trouble anywhere he was, that's for sure.
Wouldn't have too many problems keeping his job, I wouldn't have thought.
So it's 2-3 to 3-3, a 1-goal game at Norwood Oval. West thumps it down the throat of Eagleton, who got away on the right boot, drives it forward, it was smothered. Oh, well done, Lachlan Bowman, just crashed the tackle from Mellor, forces it onto the left and goes towards Downsborough. Sun in his eyes, that was a tough one. Couldn't bring it to ground himself, but he brought it forward where Gallagher goes long to O'Brien. Good contest, Cunningham roving beautifully, but the snap under pressure was out on the full.
I'm just going to ask Dave, who's this bloke West? I can't find him in my budget this afternoon.
Mark Stewart.
Is that who it is?
Sorry.
You've called him 3 times. I was going to put him down for a couple of stats.
That's all right, Nails. You never made a mistake in your life.
He's getting a few back.
Never missed one yet.
Stewart.
Eagleton comes around his left leg. He's in the shadows there of Norwood Oval. Comes back to Fine Cotton. Fine Cotton left leg. Lays it out beautiful. This should be a mark. It is. Good kick. Good lead. And a good mark taken by Robert Neal.
Is that Fine Cotton or Fine Cotton? He moved like a racehorse on the left foot.
Actually, his true nickname's Jerry because of his resemblance to Jerry Lewis. But, gee, I don't like the implication of Fine Cotton, Mark.
Robert Neal already has 1 for the afternoon. Directly in front. The distance won't be a problem. The accuracy might be. I don't think he has had any trouble here. He hasn't. That's a good major, and fellas, it's Norwood's turn to go back in front.
That's his second goal. Didn't look all that flash off the boot, but certainly they come back. There's no breeze, but good kicking action and 2 goals within 10 or 15 minutes. That's a very good start to Robert Neal. Once again, they've brought it back through the corridor. See there, came out way left and came back from a long way.
Ed Richardson's got his hands full with Robert Neal as we go back to the middle. Mark Stewart from the right. Thanks, fellas.
From West.
From West Adelaide as Yearbury up and down. Did it beautifully. Off it went to Cotton, who in turn had James, a long bomb towards full forward. Oh, Neal. Well, they might have to look at a change. He's just got his confidence up and is running ribs around Ed Richardson.
Certainly is. 3 catches. And ball once again straight out of the middle. Beautiful palm from Yearbury down to Roger James, who's a terrific kick. Just sat the ball up in front of the square there, and Neal drifted across and took a good mark. Lines up for his 3rd goal.
I've been hard. I think it's Troy Gray who's on him. Ed was standing him before, but I think he might have Troy Gray as his direct opponent, and that's his 3rd. He is creating havoc out there early. You might square that up for me, Andy. Just who has got him?
We'd have to say it'd be a fair match-up with him. I mean, Troy Gray's a very strong guy, and I mean, as a coach, you wouldn't move him now.
Well,
looks like it is Ed Richardson.
Well, Ed ran away. Ed wasn't within 25 metres of him.
I think he was hiding from the coach, David.
I think he's hiding from the cameras and everyone, if that's the case. And I think you're under. We called it early.
Oh, there he is.
And Ed ran so far away from him when he took that mark, I thought he couldn't possibly be on him.
4-3, fellas, 28 plays. West Adelaide 3-3-21, so a 7-point ball game. Norwood again go forward. Lockie Bowman, kicker's smothered. The Bloods have the numbers here. Toomey's there, left leg. He will put up high, half forward flank. Broom, but coming across the top again, Miles.
That's his 4th mark.
Oh, he's taking everything before him. Now he's looking. There's leads coming. He will go over the top. Jumping looked like it will be Broom. At the back there, was at Symes, missed the mark that he should have taken. He's not happy either with himself. Fine Cotton comes across and takes it. He goes wide.
Matty Dawes.
Matty Dawes has taken it.
Sorry, I thought you were handing over, Nails.
Yes, I could have. I was just trying to find the player as well. 27, dodging and weaving, was Howard, who's kicked the major already this afternoon. And the free kick's been given. We'll go back to Ian Downsborough.
Downsborough from centre half back, drives towards centre half forward. Up and down went Bannock, couldn't complete it. Andriski on the left boot, but Pitt just holding sway across half back, kept the ball in play. Harvey talks him through the program. Eagleton comes in, just applies enough pressure. The kick is dispatched forward. Oh, good mark. It's Ed Richardson making amends. He almost ran into Doreen. It would have been a tragedy, but he still got the kick away. And further afield, it bowled Matty Connell. A B-grade bounce, and Connell gave away the free kick to Gallagher.
Yeah, great effort from Gallagher there. He made about 15 yards to get to that ball.
Gallagher
Awards himself the free kick.
Well, the kick was wasteful. And now it's a free kick against Doreen on Hodges. The
Bad option from Gallagher then.
recruited from North Adelaide. We loved the way he went before he was injured with the Roosters. And he seems to be in pretty fine form with West Adelaide. Downsborough from behind forced the ball forward. Cotton gets the kick away under pressure. Crouch got there late, but recovering it was Doreen. Toomey couldn't apply enough pressure, and Doreen goes goalwards. It's another point for the Redlegs.
Both sides missing a few easy opportunities. Could prove costly at the end of the day.
Chance here, Andriski. The left leg puts it down. Beautiful kick by Andriski. He finds Hodges. Hodges just slows things down. Looking for a bit of movement. Stewart's gone that way. He's been let loose. Or given a yard there by Yerbury. Now, chance to set things up. He's got Connell down in the pocket by himself. Big Richardson up there. Brute strength. Just too strong for Scotty Bassett. He takes a great mark, Andrew.
Just Yerbury gave far too much latitude there to the big fella, and he had about 30 or 40 yards on him. It's just poor checking, and bombed it into Richardson. He's taken another strong mark.
And the big number 16. He's already kicked one this afternoon. It's a good kick again. He's happy with it. That's his second. West Adelaide bring up their fourth goal. And a great start by both sides. A great contest we're witnessing this afternoon, David.
It is, and we missed a bit of a milestone just a moment or two ago. Adam Richardson's first goal in this match was his 100th in SANFL footy, and this is his 101st. He is tough and powerful. When he gets in front, he's almost impossible to shift.
And chaps, just down here on the boundary line, that goal resulted from Norwood throwing their side around. They were reorganising some positions, and they lost a couple of boys, and it resulted in a goal against them.
Strength being used here. Toomey ends up with it, taken by Obbs. Coming in hard there at ground level was 13 and Dawes. The ball a chance. He's got a chance here for Cunningham if he gets a good bounce. He didn't. Cunningham's taken high. The umpires missed it. Over the top of him was Bannock. The ball comes to ground, sat upon, and the man in white will come in and throw it up.
Both sides desperate. Certainly no one's got the ascendancy yet, but they'd be both looking to get a couple of quick ones before the end of the quarter just to gain that little bit of momentum.
2-point ball game. It's Neal. High across the pack, thumps it down, almost a set play, but Bannock read it beautifully. He was up to the challenge. Harvey steals it at 65, comes back inside, escapes, goes long, but the kick is a shocker, but it's found its mark. Oh, Neal lost it in the sun. No question about that. Ed Richardson tries to mop up, goes short over the top where Toomey, drifting out of the middle, deep in the back pocket, takes the ball, goes towards Mellor, 2-on-1. It's Clements recovering. Handball across the top. DeRosa off the ground, went forward. Dion Miles under pressure from Pitt. Hasn't that been a good contest? Miles has had the upper hand, and Pitt is a quality player.
Oh, well and truly had the hand there. He's taken 5 marks. He's having a real influence centre forward.
Miles picks the option beautifully. Goes to Toomey, who's 60 out. Forces it into Richardson, who goes in the middle of the pack. Thumps the ball to ground, and across the line, a point rushed for West Adelaide.
Just see West Adelaide doing that all day, just hitting the top of the square, David. They know they've got the marking power up there. Either they'll be marking it or bringing it to the ground, and hopefully the likes of Eagleton can snaffle 1 or 2 by the end of the day.
Redlegs bring the ball back in. It's a 1-point ball game. Bowman gets the ball thumped down from behind by Timothy Symes. Free kick nearly to Dan Toshier. Symes comes up with it. He booms the ball up forward. Might go out of bounds on the full as a touch. I think it is. It's kept in. Eagleton looks over his shoulder. He spotted the player loose by himself. Greg Mellor, the captain, takes a mark directly in front.
Won't see a better kick for goal than this guy.
And I guess
I've put the mockers on him, but rarely misses Greg Miller on the left foot, and this will be just what the Bloods need.
And value for money overhead, rarely misses a ball overhead.
Plays a lot taller, a bit like Steve Copping. I reckon he'd only be about 6 forward, but he plays like a tall.
Greg Mellor's kicked 227 goal. That's his 228th major for the Bloods. And this very seesawing affair, Andrew Pace.
Been playing a bit in defence too this year, Miller, so Michael Taylor's got the luxury of being able to use a few players in different positions, and certainly accustomed to the forward line is Greg Miller. Good vision by Eagleton there. Once again, just kicked it to the top of the square. West Adelaide players knew that he was going to do that. That's something that they would have been running through at training, and worked perfectly.
At the bounce, Yerbury from the left. Got his hand to that ball, dead heat. Mark Stewart thumps it further afield. Good contest in the middle. 3-on-1 for the Redlegs, who are getting players around the ball. I don't think Robert DeRosa too much like the extra attention. Umpire Derek Woodcock just sets the boys at it again in the middle of a perfect day at Norwood Oval. And the footballers enjoying it, going hard about it. Mark Stewart handballs it out. Harvey, a cracking first quarter for him as he goes wide to the wing. Dawes couldn't get it. Hodges for West Adelaide. Tackled and gets the handball away across the line. We've played just on 26.5 minutes into the first term.
Anthony Harvey's had an influence already, David, and he'll be enjoying this. He's got young DeRosa running with him, but they are playing wide of each other on occasions, and Anthony Harvey will enjoy that today.
Slick handball on the outer, goes up forward again. Eagleton try to get underneath the football. Bowman's back there, goes for the safety of the boundary line. Clements is there, he makes sure it goes over. The ball be thrown in half forward flank for the Bloods.
Peter Road, I've just been wondering what options he's got down back. West Adelaide, real marking power up there. Stuck with Bowman and also Pitt on Miles, but Miles has given Pitt a real run around this first quarter.
DeRosa feeds out the handball. Mellor on the left from 45. It's coming back on. Richardson likes it. That is a beauty right on the siren at Norwood Oval. Mellor gets his second goal. And the Redlegs are 4-5. West Adelaide 6-4.
Absolutely nothing in it for 28 minutes, and Greg Miller just kicks 2 goals right at the end, and West Adelaide are going to go in there full of confidence and full of momentum when really Norwood have had just as many opportunities. So we expected a great tussle. We've certainly got that, but I just think the Bloods, with their extra options up forward, are going to be the side to beat today.
Quarter time scores here at Norwood Oval. See Norwood, they're 4 goals 5-29. They trail West Adelaide, they're 6 goals 4-40. And you're watching it at home live and exclusive to ABC Sport.
Hope you're enjoying this match from Norwood Oval. 11 points in front, West Adelaide, leading the way against the Redlegs. It's a great, tough contest out in the middle. One of the players that we were hoping to profile today on field was a young fellow by the name of Ben Knights, with a terrific football pedigree. He is one of the young up-and-comers, but he's not playing today. Pedigree counts for nothing when you're not playing.
When I first moved across to Adelaide, I went to St Peter's College, and they came out and saw me play as a junior out there, and after playing school football, came out here playing in 19s. I think it's a really good club, really good atmosphere, good supporters, good coaching staff, and a lot of good blokes playing for Norwood, so I'm pretty happy to be here. Mum's physio for Norwood actually, so it's a bit of a family connection there as well. Peter Rhodes, a pretty good coach and definitely the best coach I've had, and yeah, I really respect the way he treats the guys around the club and the way he does his job with the Norwood Football Club. I'm actually studying at Adelaide University. I'm doing honours in environmental biology, just finished my Bachelor of Science last year, and doing honours this year is just a 1 year project. Got to write a thesis and everything at the end of it, so it's a pretty tough year, but to play senior football now has been good. I've made the step up to senior football, but I'm hoping to become a regular player at senior level and become a regular good player at senior level, so I'm hoping to have a good all-round season.
As we come back, sorry about that, we're just chatting amongst ourselves, and one of the good things about football at the parade, Andy, is you get a chance to have a good close look at the full forwards. And I came here today looking for Adam Richardson at full forward for West Adelaide, Christian O'Brien for the Redlegs, and I was really expecting a good shootout.
Well, they've both given you a bit of a treat there, haven't they? I mean, Richardson's such a strong man and a courageous player as well. He's taken 2 great marks. Let's not forget Dean Miles there at centre-half forward. I think he's taken 5 marks and he's looking very good as well.
Adam Richardson kicked a couple of goals, but Christian O'Brien hasn't got one. But when he sat under this ball, and his second effort was just fantastic, got it out to Scotty Doreen, who kicked a terrific goal for the Redlegs.
Certainly did. They're just pumping it in there to the top of the square. Strength by O'Brien just to hold the ball in the area. He brought it to the front, gave his teammate the option there, and Doreen finished it off. That was terrific stuff. It's not going to go down for a goal for him, but just as valuable, David.
We saw there how dangerous Robert O'Neill was, and I thought when he took this mark and kicked this goal, the Redlegs looked like they had the momentum going their way.
They certainly did. It's a seesawing affair. He just got down low. It was a good kick, actually.
Well, I thought he stabbed at it a bit.
Well, it just looked like he pushed it left, but it came back there. A little bit of a fade in a golf shot, and that's resulted in his 3rd goal, so he started very well.
Well, he was running a muck on the Redleg forward line, and I thought at the other end, you've already mentioned Dion Miles, who took, 4 or 5 great marks in that first term, and he was certainly doing the job up in the West Adelaide forward line.
Certainly was, and as we saw, he's given Stephen Pitt a run around, who's no slouch, and he looks very, very good for him at centre-half forward. You find on a small ground, if your centre-half forward's taking marks like that, then Richardson's going to get plenty of opportunities.
They seem to be running a 2-pronged forward zone, West Adelaide.
And they've also got, don't forget, they've got Symes in the forward pocket as well, along with Miller and Eagleton, and I really think that that's going to be the difference today of the 2 sides.
Seems fashionable, doesn't it? Geelong sweeping all before them with a big forward line. West Adelaide are going the same way with Richardson, Symes, Dion Miles.
I think when Michael Taylor's got that luxury on a day like today where marking players really going to have an influence, he's going to use them, he's going to use them up forward, and they look good up there today already.
As we go to the quarter-time scoreboard here at Norwood Oval, the Redlegs 4-5, West Adelaide 6-4, the margin 11 points at quarter-time.
Yeah, absolutely nothing in it. You just saw West Adelaide there through Greg Mellor. A couple of quick goals at the end, and it's just given the momentum in there. Neil started with 3, Doreen 1, Adam Richardson has got 2.
Mark Nayley takes us through the stats. You've had a chance to have a peruse, Mark.
Yes, we just see there our new stat board this week just sees they've had 43 kicks, 45 kicks, but 43 of those kicks being effective this week. And for West Adelaide, we see they've had 48 kicks, but 42 of them there, so a little bit of a margin there, but still, I mean, it's only 3 kicks difference there. Handballs, only 1 difference there between 18 and 19. Marks, well, you just said it, West Adelaide are on top. They're grabbing everything before them. They're 22 marks to 13. Frees are even. Hit-outs we haven't got there at this stage, all the inside 50s. But centre square breaks, does surprise me. Norwood are on top, 6-3.
Fair enough. In other matches around town this afternoon, the Eagles and Central are battling it out. The Eagles have got away to a good start. Andrew, you'd like that?
Put a smile on my face down there. That's going to be a crucial day today for both sides, looking like have got here today.
Contenders?
Both sides looking to finish in that 3, 4, 5th area, obviously with Sturton Port being the pace setters.
North got away to a bad start mid-quarter, but they have fought back in the last half of the quarter to lead by 10 points. And you must say for both these teams, probably one of their most crucial for the year. It's going to determine who might finish on the bottom.
Battle of the 2 Macs there. One north with a win down there at Norwood Oval can look to obviously make something of the season. The others are going to be struggling a bit.
The Eagles, of course, can consolidate into 3rd position if West Adelaide happen to lose to Norwood here today. As we go down to Michael Parsons on the boundary, I guess, Michael, that Peter Road would be looking for a bit more work rate from his footballers.
Yeah, pretty happy with what was going on, actually. One thing about Peter Road, he can get a message across in about 10 seconds. He talks to his players when they first come in, and he did get a lot of message, but spent a bit of time restructuring their centre bounces. He's a bit concerned with what's happening in there, feels that the West Adelaide players are pulling his guys away from the centre bounce, even though they won the clearances in that quarter, and a bit concerned about some of the simple errors that they made on the half-forward line, a couple of drop marks, and I think we'd have to point to Ian Downsborough there, who I think we'd all like to see get his form back and start taking some big overhead marks. West Adelaide, Michael Taylor, I do admire the way that he organises his team. He's got a particular structure. He talks to them for a little while, then they break up into their groups, and all of the guys know who the captain is of each particular area of the ground. Spent a little bit of time with Bruin and Howard working out how the Ruck Rovers are going to change, and also spent some time looking at what happens at the centre bounce. But both coaches reasonably happy with their team's performance. It's a good day for footy, David, and I'm looking forward to this quarter.
You don't feel like getting out there amongst it, Michael, at all on days like today, do you?
Mate, when you get in amongst that huddle and you smell the limit and a bit of sweat around, you're just feeling like stripping it down and having a go, but then you realise that you're beyond those years.
I think we all realise that, Mark, don't we? But what a day it is.
Yes, a sensational afternoon. We just see there West Adelaide backmen just pulling themselves in. Also their forward line structure. They're pretty organised, Andrew, in the way they do go about it, but they're very good the way they go about it. Also with Norwood, we just saw there at quarter time with Gary McIntosh was down there at ground level. Michael Lace took on the forward line. Gary McIntosh took the middle lines. And down on the boundary level, I think Michael Parsons might have the coach.
Yep. Publicity. Good publicity, Mick. Thanks very much. You're looking for a few more marks on your forward line this quarter?
Oh, I think it's a pretty good game. It's a close contest, and they got away from us early, and we fought our way back. We've had to make a couple of adjustments in the back half.
You going to tell us what they are?
Oh, I think it speaks for itself out there. I think Neil kicked 3, and I think I had to make a change there. So, but it's a good contest at the moment.
Fantastic game of footy. We'll look forward to this quarter. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Michael. Both Michael Parsons, also Michael Taylor for Lownwich, just inside the coach's head there, just momentarily after the first quarter.
Fantastic.
We see the scoreline there. The old scoreboard here at Norwood Oval sees 40 plays 29. The Bloods are on top. A couple of late goals to be heard from Greg Mellor. Just gave them that margin of 11 points. Free kick first comes to Toomey. Adam Richardson moves, comes out of full forward. It's heading in that direction over the top. The free kick has to be paid there. Hands are on the back of Richardson by Bassett. And I just don't know, David, is it beyond him? He's outside 50. We'll kick from about 55, Andrew.
Fair leg. Left footer. I'll back him from here on a dry day. Absolutely. Good to see the coaches having a chat too at quarter time. Michael Taylor's obviously got his side very well organised, and he would have been wrapped with that first quarter.
Adam Richardson kicked 2 already in this game. He's outside 50. Just goes forward and decides, no, the timing's not quite right. Come back, start again. He goes forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. He's outside his range. He's pushed it left. But there's a player down there. Mark should have been taken. Nobody else was going to contest it.
Just didn't time the ball at all well. Maybe the better option might have been just to put it to the head of the square.
Well, he's had problems with his back, he's had problems with his hamstring, so maybe just not stretching out, but timing didn't look good off the boot.
Perhaps he should have known then that it was out of his range.
Dan Tokia to Optus, good play for the red leg defence. A long bomb. Downs were up, couldn't bring it down. Bannock tries to get the handball away. Doreen snatches it in, comes up with the ball, tries to get it out successfully to Matty Dorr. Now it's Cotton. Bruin forces it forward. Cotton with a slick handball. James had the kick just ricocheted forward to him, James Gallagher, and Eagleton was clever, forcing it to Matty Connell, claimed by Dantokia. Gallagher applies a tackle. It's Eagleton. DeRosa, it is ferocious and quick out there. Hard to pick up the players. It is so quick. Hodges crashes through. Now it's Symes. Slick one, Connell. Further afield, the handball to Eagleton. Taken high and goes to ground. Well, the umpires have done a good job. They've just let the players go hard at it, and the players are responding.
That's the way to go, isn't it? Let the play flow on. The ball's travelled about 5 metres, and some players there have had 3 or 4 stats. That's terrific. Let it go. Get on with it.
Have a look at the players around the ball there. There would have to be up to 30 players. There's no one up forward. They're in both goal squares. So the big spaces here of Norwood Oval aren't being used at this stage of the game. There's just so much pressure out there. Downsborough takes a mark. The Norwood crowd are pleased. Then kicks the ball, trying to bring a bit of rain here at Norwood Oval. It's up high. There's a push, there's a shove. What would the umpire call it?
Neil was pushed by Ed Richardson, you'll see.
Well, he's not happy with himself. He shakes his head. Is
We
he angry with himself or the umpire, Andrew? Oh.
He's very lucky there not to give away a 50-metre penalty, by the way.
Wouldn't mind seeing that again, just if possible. But Robert Neal, he's already kicked 3 majors this afternoon.
3 zip.
Looks like a footballer does Robert Neal. He puts it on its way. It's a good kick. Once again, one of the better kickers of the football in this competition, Robert Neal. That's his 4th major and the first major in the 2nd quarter.
Peter Wright will be looking for big things from Ian Downsborough too. He's been in reasonable form with the Crows. We just see he created a bit of space for himself, took a good mark, kicked the ball high into the area, and Robert Neal was lucky to get a 3 pick and bang through his 4th major.
At the bounce, the Redlegs just pull one back. Yerbury thumps the ball down. Off the ground, it was Doreen towards Cotton and Bannock. I like that matchup. Cotton tries to go forward, but Bannock was up to the contest. Obst, very slick and quick. A long bomb towards full forward. Raided it pretty well, didn't he? Took front position, held his ground and went towards the boundary line. I'm not sure the kick went where it wanted to because Gallagher's got it. Swings it back inboard. O'Brien was the target. Parker for West Adelaide dragged the ball in, but the umpire said he had no opportunity of getting it out. We'll have a bounce.
Certainly didn't then, but Gallagher doing the right thing, brings it back inboard again. Just not the options there from the other players.
Yes, good call. Did the right thing, Gallagher. Showed a little bit of maturity for such a young player. Just couldn't spot the player in that blue jumper, but chance again here now for Nord to set it up.
Really is a play that's just drilled into players at training all week, that you just got to centre the ball, and if blokes are going for check sides and banana balls from the boundary line, they're just as likely to get taken from the ground nowadays.
Harvey back to scratch, and Neil, what can he do? Well, he can't get over the top of it. Player there in Doreen couldn't come up with it, and again the umpire will come in. So Nord desperately trying to kick a goal inside their 50. West Adelaide really just trying to kick the ball out of there if they can. Just trying to hold possession. It's a high ball, big thump by Stewart. Goes Obbs. Obbs has had his head ripped off his shoulders. That was by Broom.
Very clever.
Certainly no argument there. I think he knew it was coming. He just ducked it a little bit, and the bloke definitely got him high. Not renowned for his goal kicking, but if he can put this one through, it'll bring Norwood right back into the ball game.
Well, in fact, it will put him 1 point up. It really has been a seesawing affair. I think we saw the league change would have been 6 times in that first quarter. And our statistician in Ian Moggeridge. It's high ball. It's a good kick by Obbs. Quite surprised you did doubt his ability there at kicking for goals. That goal was gone through.
Never in doubt from
high.
there. And might I add that that's his 99th goal in league footy, so he'll be the 2nd player today if he can jag another one to celebrate the ton.
Seems to me there's a little bit of professional animosity still there. You would have played on him heaps of times and you wouldn't have liked him.
No, we certainly, he kicked plenty of goals on me and I got absolutely nowhere near him. I was the guy 50 metres behind, waving for someone else to pick him up.
Well, you said it.
Did not enjoy it at all.
Mark Naylor and I looked at each other. Anywhere time he gets near goals, he's like a radar gun.
I know one thing's for sure, that I would have been a better option on him than you were, DB. Thanks very much.
Well done, Newbury.
Did it very well and goes long towards the goals. He's offline and through for a point. And at least the Redlegs are forcing the ball forward and attacking ferociously.
Certainly had plenty of opportunities this quarter. Peter Rhodes got stuck into him. Let's not worry about those 2 goals at the end. Let's just keep pumping it forward.
From the defensive post, it's Andruski. A long bomb. The Redlegs have the lead by 2 points. That's a pretty good mark to Downsborough.
That's his 2nd mark this quarter. Starting to have an influence on the game.
Well, he's a confidence player. That's a high bomb. Neal sets himself front of the pack. Was there, but just couldn't quite complete it. Bannock forces the ball towards the line. Correct weight.
Had 3 on him then, Bannock. Not a bad option. Just dribbled it with the left. That's a good kick to touch.
He's intelligent, isn't he?
He's a smart player. He's been around a long time and normally used to playing in the midfield and getting a lot of positions. We just see someone there.
O'Brien. He got
top one from behind.
crunched in the contest when Neil took front position, came down heavily, and he's in the hands of the trainers.
They'll need him to get up. He's really been their main option up forward all year, and if they ever need him, they need him today.
Well, sometimes that's just either a heavy knock and you feel nauseous.
I reckon he's winded.
A bit of blood there coming from the nostrils, so no doubt he has taken a fair hit. Whether he can stay on his feet, he is. He's got the tissue up to his nose at this stage.
Here we see it in action here. See Robert Neal flying across, and looks like he's just copped an elbow right on the top of the beak there on the nose, and that'll just make him a little bit blurry-eyed for 5 minutes, but he's looks like he's moving okay.
Well, historically shown he's tough as nails. He hasn't shirked the hard contests ever. DeRosa feeds it out there running. Matty Connell seems to be growing in confidence. Uses the ball generally pretty intelligently. Mellor couldn't get there. Clements mops up for the Redlegs, goes back. Bruin, a big fly. 2 bites at the cherry. No mark. Ubery, that was clever work for a big man. Gallagher slick to O'Brien. Thumped away by Parker. He's strong. And the bloke who can't kick a goal, Hobbs. Oh, he's missed. And he pays punch.
I'm not going to say a thing. I wanted to celebrate his 100th goal. Nothing to do with his set shot at all. Well done. He's had an influence on the game this quarter. That's his 3rd or 4th kick, so he's doing very well.
That's just a square up.
Well, Parker's done everything right. He's got in the right position, thumped the ball a good 20 metres, and it's landed right on Hobbs' chest.
Norwood have zoned up very well this quarter. Each time West Adelaide have kicked it out, they've rebounded strongly. They just haven't finished it off.
And Drisky to Gray was a good kick. Gray takes a bounce as he heads off. Goes for his second now. O'Brien runs across, full head of steam. Couldn't quite get to him. Good mark there by Broom. It's been a bit quiet this afternoon.
Got a poke in the eye.
Yeah, she's just holding top part of his head there, so may have received one. Yeah, he's taken a finger in the eye. A bit of blood as well, indicates from the umpire, so he'll have to come off.
Now that's not a good sign when there's a poke in the eye and blood.
It might be just a butt, may have been a fingernail. May have just come across the top of it, but he doesn't look.
See the blood rule in full force there, which has been a controversial issue over the last couple of days, so it's good to see that it's remaining in force here.
Discussion that all footballers should be tested for hepatitis and HIV. Andrew, as a recently retired footballer, what's your view?
Well, my view on it is there's no question that the AIDS issue is a strong one, but there's a lot of other, obviously, viruses and diseases that can be caught through the blood, and it's not only that one that's an issue. And getting back to the ruling in Melbourne, I just wonder how many players would want to line up and play against that young man that's had his decision gone his way.
Well, Optus started this quarter very well. He receives another possession here. It's a kick. It's a high ball towards centre half forward, where the jumping plays. Big Yerbury's covering a hell of a lot of ground. Taken high there was Doreen's. The umpire has waved his hand on. This is Scratch and Neal towards the top of the square, trying to find O'Brien. Brute streak by O'Brien, but couldn't keep Parker out. Again, there's Harvey doing the tough work at ground level. The ball's come out. Toomey takes it.
Eagleton. Slick, wasn't it, from Toomey? They're combining pretty well. Eagleton seems to be growing in stature in this match, finding the ball, and it's important for him. Cotton, left footer, smothered by DeRosa, who did very well in the contest. Crouch was just gang tackled. Eagleton was there, and Bannock.
Free kick up.
Well, Bannock gave it away, but Eagleton.
Had to be.
We go down to Michael Parsons on the boundary.
Yeah, Matty Bruin's fine, just a scratch underneath the eye with a little bit of blood, but he'll be back on in 5 minutes.
Good news. The Redlegs go forward. Neal, front position. Sandwich couldn't quite take it. At the back door, it's Troy Gray, who only played, 8 or so games last year after having terrible ankle injuries for most of the season. And similarly, Miles, who starred here today, didn't play a lot of football for West Adelaide last year. They're not quite virtual recruits, but they've been important so far.
Troy Gray would be very, very fit at the moment. I saw him in the pre-season. He was doing triathlons down at West Lakes every weekend, and he was looking $1 million.
Coming across Harvey, working overtime. Comes down to Gallagher. That's a great kick. Just couldn't be brought back far enough. Another behind. So Norwood fellas doing all the attacking. We've played in this second quarter 12.5 minutes. So the Redlegs at the moment have got their tails up, but just can't convert enough.
Norwood forwards are doing all the work. They're holding the ball in the area. getting plenty of opportunities this quarter.
Symes marked that one. He is strong, and when he's on song, West Adelaide look a different outfit again. He is important. When he plays well, generally West Adelaide do well. Little push. Miles didn't like it. He said it was just a friendly elbow ump.
Fairly obvious, that one, David.
But Pitt takes the free.
I don't think he got much argument.
Whoop.
Give me elbow straight in the back.
Good call.
Thank you.
And fair enough too. Crouch towards full forward. Big fly was up. Miles couldn't bring it down. Bannock evaded a tackle, feeds it off to Broome. Back to Bannock in the double play. Was good enough in the context of the game. And Toomey, pinpoint pass, finds it, feeds it wide to Symes. The big man can wind up, drills it long and low. It was a good kick, wasn't it?
Perfect kick. Long stretched arms of Mellor there. Looks like he's having a few problems getting around there, but squares it up.
Mellor under pressure from Clements. Did the right job. D'Antocchia coming through. Gets the ball on the ricochet out, and it's James who turns one around the corner, but not far enough. It's out of bounds on the full.
Good pressure there from the West Adelaide forwards. Forced it out of bounds, and now Matty Connell's got a chance to bring it inboard again.
Terrific game of football this is, what we're watching this afternoon. Side's not giving an inch. There's plenty of pressure, plenty of desperation, plenty of fierceness at the footy as well. The ball comes out again. Norwood got the run again going forward. Bowman throws the ball out. There's enough Norwood players to be able to convert this. Crouch comes up with a good lead by O'Brien's out in front. And the big fella at full forward takes a great grab.
Kareem was intelligent, Andrew, in the midfield.
He just squared that up then, and the young fella kicked it out in front. What a beautiful mark by O'Brien there under a bit of pressure. Poke in the eye before and a tap on the nose. He's recovered well, and that'll do his confidence the world of good. His first mark for the day and hasn't kicked a goal, so he'll be looking to drill this one.
Christian O'Brien has kicked 76 goals so far in his short career.
Adam Crouch only 7 games, but he certainly looks the goods through the midfield there. Kicked 13 goals this year, kicked 13 goals 3, so terrific average. Real goal kicker, and that puts the legs in front for the first time. They've really started well this quarter. Plenty of opportunities, beautiful kicks from Crouch there through the midfield. O'Brien finishes it off with a strong mark, goes back straight through the middle. Great work.
Andrew, where are they winning it in the second quarter? Because at the moment,
Just think they've been cleaner in the midfield. West Adelaide have had a few opportunities, but you saw there the kick from Crouch, hit O'Brien. Gallagher's done some good work, boarded inboard to the top of the square, and they've just been a bit smarter through the midfield.
Doreen just applied a Shepard to allow Crouch to take the ball. That was the important non-possession, if you like. That's the thing that doesn't show on the stat sheet. Hodges, who's done well from defence, crashes through and gets the ball forward. DeRosa under pressure from D'Antocchia. I like that matchup too. This is little Matty Dawes, the second gamer, had the kick smothered. It ricochets forward. Hodges, Toomey, well distributed wide, and it's Mellor running and providing an option. On the right boot, the non-preferred, he goes long into the pocket. Big fly up the back door. It was Howard, couldn't take it. James goes around the corner again, but this time along the boundary line. And in other matches around town this afternoon, the Eagles and North Adelaide, a tight one. Glenelg and North is tight, 48-46. And the Eagles and Central, well, look at that. The Eagles have stepped away by 3 goals.
Yeah, they've kept up the momentum. Go the mighty Eagles.
chance again for the Bloods. They've got their hand, they're throwing themselves over the footy. So is the defence there. Bowman, great desperation. Cunningham comes up with it. Even it's the tackle there. The second and third efforts have been absolutely magnificent to witness here this afternoon. It's up high again. In the back, maybe Bowman's not happy with it. Oh, what? Oh. The Norwood crowd won't be happy with that decision. Somehow, Howard's come up with it. So Dean Howard lining up for his second. Really is a give-me goal. He's directly in front, just puts it on its way. It's a good kick by Howard. That's his second major. Gets a tap on the backside from DeRosa. And the crowd, you can hear in the background, they're not happy with the men in white.
Yeah, Bowman, he would not be happy with that at all. He did the right thing. He played in front, thought he got a little bit of a shove. You reckon he might have been a little bit stiff not to get a free kick, and the umpires pulled one out to West Adelaide, who have converted to come within 4 points. Very lucky indeed there.
4-point ball game. The Redlegs have the ascendancy. We are 17.5 minutes into the second quarter. Yerbury and Stewart battle it out. It was a dead heat, that one. Loose ball falls. Dantokia sweeping across half-back, lost his footing. Symes crashes in over the top of him. We've talked about Symes and how tough he can be, and that time he was solid at it.
Just desperate underneath there from the big fella. Knew he had to hold the ball in the area, and well done.
As we go down to Michael Parsons.
Yes, fellas, Norwood have had the ball, haven't been able to score, and you just get the feeling from down here that if Westies can get a couple of goals, then they could break this game open right now. And they've also made a change. Ansell has come on for young Chubb.
Thank you, Michael. Stacks on the mill. I like the look of this little James Gallagher, Andrew. 3 games he's played, and he looks like a seasoned veteran.
Just looks very neat and very smart, and I reckon he showed maturity beyond his years just with a couple of his clean disposals inboard, and he's doing a very good job.
Just outside 50 for the Bloods. The thump from behind there was tried by Miles, couldn't quite connect it. Crouches over the top, quite content just to let the boys stay on the ground. The Bloods player comes up with it. Number 40, which was Adam Ansell, the player that's just come on. Ball be bounced, similar position, maybe a yard or two outside. Thump over the back there was from Pitt. Comes down to Eagleton, goes back to Crouch. Crouch comes up. Number 3 there is Doreen. Goes back to Pitt. Now Pitt's got a paddock to run into. Could take another bounce. He doesn't. Decides to release it. Goes towards O'Brien. O'Brien couldn't take it in the air. Coming down was number 10 in Anthony Baddock. Trying out wide, trying to find Matthew Connell, but just couldn't keep the ball in.
Just well read there from Bannock, wasn't it? Experience in defence. We see Norwood through Dan Tokia, and also Roger Dames been able to mop up back there. And West Adelaide, they got back there in numbers.
Bannock, I think he's been their best defender for West Adelaide. Now it's Scotty Doreen from 50. Closes on goals. Front position was Troy Gray. Couldn't take it. Well,
he knew where he wanted someone to be there. He kicked it straight to the head of the square.
It was Anthony Harvey.
West Adelaide players.
Anthony Harvey almost achieved the impossible. Connell going forward. Ansell just misjudged it slightly. Crashing through was Miles. Ansell comes again. Eagleton did very well. And along the ground went Miles. Broon couldn't get there. 20 was Roger James for the Redlegs. And a very good crowd building up at Norwood Oval. You're thinking about coming down. I guess the second half is going to be just cracking. This game vital for both sides.
Witnessing a great game of footy. Both sides unable to get an ascendancy on it, but it's hard and it's desperate. Players are really hard underneath, and it gets bottled up a bit here, Norwood, because of the size of the ground, but I can assure you the skills have been very, very good.
Gregory Mellor, the captain for the Bloods. He's got 2 goals so far in this game. Being picked up by Clements. The tap down by Yerbury, couldn't find anybody, goes back in there again. He plays like a rover sometimes, the big fella. Off to Eagleton, round his body. Has he kicked a major? I don't think he has. He hasn't, so another behind to the Bloods.
First score for the day, but he's had a few important touches this quarter, Nails, Nathan Egan. He's got his hand on it a bit.
Yes, he has to rebound. He needs a good run, needs to find a little bit of confidence. No doubt he'll be back in a power jumper before too long.
The way he's going today, he's certainly running himself back into form. Clements from half-back streaks down, and that is as good as it gets. As good as it gets.
Fantastic stuff. Beautiful kick from half-back. Have a look at the Norwood players verging on Clements there to say well done. Beautiful kick out in front, and now Neil lining up for his 5th goal. What a start.
Downsville was important too.
He's led up the ground, created the space behind. You can do that at Norwood Oval.
And then he came back and applied a shepherd that just allowed Neil to come through. He's kicked 4 Neil. 3 in the first, 1 in the second so far. Make that 5. He's having a day out. And it's been important for the Redlegs. There's no O'Brien, but Neil's doing the damage.
Absolutely, he's chipped in for a lazy 5. But let's just go back to that goal there with Clements dashing from half back. Ball comes over the back, beautifully read here, showed pace, broke away from the tackle, had a look up there, plenty of space from behind, and a good mark to Neil, and finishes off.
That's class
Well
with the capital C there from Clements. He just sent Scratcher Neil this afternoon. He's playing with a bit of confidence, started really well. Now Downsborough's gone on the ruck. I think Yerbury's gone off. Bounds come on to centre half forward. So Downsbridge also trying a bit of form, similar to what Eagleton is. Has been moved onto the ball. Eagleton comes up with a steps over the top of his players. The kicks come out there again by Clemens, who's in everything this afternoon. Crouch needs support. He's got it from behind. So chip kick wasn't the best option there by Gallagher, and the mark's taken by Mark Stewart. So Big Stewart thumps it down along the line. Eagleton's down there, one up in the air, takes the mark. There's Nathan Eagleton, outside 50. Fairly acute angle as well to go with that distance. Yet to have a mark this afternoon. The stats aren't good, only 4 kicks and 1 handball. This will be his 5th kick. So I'm just trying to signal to the umpire, where's the mark, he's saying. Goes out wide that left leg, the top of the square, so it's a good kick, gives these forwards a chance up there to take it. In the front of the pack is, looks like Mellor, it was. Gregory Mellor brings up his 3rd major. And the Bloods fellas, they're there, they're just starting to kick away.
Greg Mellor only had 4 kicks in the day, but 3 of them have been goals, and Peter Rowe would probably start to think surely he's not going to get another couple just before half-time.
We did the damage in the first quarter, didn't he, at crucial times? And
that's beautifully read, front of the pack there.
Well, it's unforgivable stuff for the Redleg Rovers, or small men, who weren't there.
No crummers.
So 8-8 plays 8-5. It's a 3-point ball game as the lead seesaws here at Norwood Oval. I think if you're thinking about coming down, I think you might get your money's worth in the second half. We're 24 minutes into the second quarter as Mark Stewart wins the tap. It falls to ground, Obst, claimed by Stewart, and goes to ground, but there'll be a bounce.
Obst has certainly had an influence this quarter as well. We see there he's kicked a goal already, and there he is in and under, holding the ball up through the midfield.
Umpire Craig Doddridge puts the ball to ground. It was Downsborough winning the tap, forcing the ball forward. Ansell in space. Dawes couldn't get there, and 23, the young blonde-headed fellow, is burned.
Very, very important stage of the game now. We see West Adelaide in that first quarter got 2 quick ones just before the end of quarter time. Score's almost level, and no side being able to get an ascendancy.
Symes is down there at ground level. The umpire's indicated he's taken a bit high, so Big Tim Symes will come up with the football, gets up quickly, puts the ball up inside 50. Richardson from behind, the big hands are up, couldn't hold the mark. Good recovery there by Bassett. Bassett pumps it back. Hard as bone, what can he do with it? Well read there by 22 and Shane Hodges. Takes a good safe chest mark out of sight of Norwood Oval. So Hodges just looking down the field, trying to find a little bit of movement. This time it comes inside to Big Stewart. Stewart's got Connell over the top. He goes in that direction. Nice little chip kick. Again finds Mellor. Mellor quickly across to DeRossa. DeRossa puts it up. The big fella, big hands, big tattoos. He's got it all. Big Adam Richardson takes the mark, will go back and line up for his 4th.
Beautiful kick. And Snafflin, the young fellow, DeRosa, just saw that Richardson put him on his right side there, and as we know, very, very hard to move. And if he gets a few more like that today, he'd be happy. That was a perfect kick.
Well, correct me, Dave Mackay. He's kicked 2. He lines up for his 3rd. That's his 3rd major. Yes, it is. It's on its way. It's through the goals. So good build-up by the Bloods going forward. Good mark by Richardson and a good goal.
We said before the start of the game that the full forwards were certainly going to play an important part. Well, they've done that. Richardson with 3, Newell with 5. You'd have to think that it could be an opportunity for one of them to get double figures today.
I think the trouble for me is that Bassett's 88 kilos and Richardson's 105.
Yeah, but who else do you put on him? What other options have you got there?
Good point. You might think about that for us. Connell, claimed. DeRosa got it through quickly. Well done, Eagleton, to DeRosa. Again, it's Mellor, 48 and closing on the left boot. He's already kicked 3 goals. This time he misses. It's a point.
It's always going to be difficult to match up on Adam Richardson at 105 kilos. There's no one running around in the competition with that weight. I think you've just got to get a player that's prepared to jump and then run off him and perhaps exploit his lack of pace. Either that or you do what they do with Lockett and try and cut the supply off a little bit, and he's been getting a few good kicks that really any fullback couldn't do anything about.
Combination of both, I guess.
Spot on.
The Bloods bench there, just waiting for their turn to come on. Knocked down. Good positioning, but there was Connell. Read the ball off the pack. Oh, taken from behind and taken high. Wasn't happy with that, Symes. He believed he took him fairly in James. So James will receive the free kick.
Bit lucky too, he grabbed him around the waist there, had prior opportunity to get rid of the ball, and Symes would be dirty on that one.
James with the free kick, big fly. Up was Gray, couldn't complete it. Look at the work from the big men. Lachlan Bowman to Downsborough and back again. Now it's Crouch who kicks the ball so beautifully. Towards full forward he goes, and it's a mark to O'Brien. He got away from Ed Richardson on that occasion. And a 25-metre penalty, nose to the umpire.
Just see once again the maturity of the younger guys playing for Norwood at the moment. Young Gallagher and also Crouch. That's twice he's streamed through the midfield there and found Christian O'Brien. Exciting times for those young lads.
Christian O'Brien, 1 goal this quarter. 14 goals, 3 for the season. Has been extremely accurate. Compact kicking style. Stays over it. A minimum of fuss and effort. And the goal umpire goes galloping, but he comes back to the middle. Indicates it's a goal. So O'Brien's got 2. An important one for the Redlegs as they hit the lead again.
Well played by Bowman there, midfield squares it up. Just has a look up here, Crouch. Sees the lead from O'Brien and strength again. That's 3 or 4 times he's been able to hold his ground, get rid of other players. He'd only be 6 foot, but his strength is certainly a real feature of his game.
Back with the bounce, we see Stewart again gets his hand on the football. Crouch comes away with it. I don't know whether it's a record, but the league has changed in the first half 11 times. We still haven't completed this quarter. Comes towards Gallagher, members wing, couldn't keep the ball in. So we'll see a throw in. Contesting will be Downsborough from behind. Stewart will take the front position. Connell just goes back. Come to the front of the pack there is Gallagher. He's by himself. Downsborough had the chance to put it down to him. Harvey comes out hard. In there is Toomey as well, the ex-Norwood players. We hear the siren here to finish the first half here at Norwood Oval. And Andrew Page, just a great game of SANFL football with a 2-point margin at the moment to the Redlegs.
It has been indeed. We've certainly been treated absolutely nothing in at the half-time. Just seen a really hard, desperate contest. We came here looking forward to seeing forwards kicking goals. We've had that. O'Brien's kicked 5, Richardson's kicked 3, and really every player on the ground is having an influence on this game, and be nothing. Be interesting to see what sort of moves are made by the coaches at half-time. What do you think, David, with Richardson? Would you make a move on him?
Oh, I think it's all going fairly well. There's no need for panic at this stage. We're half-time in the match between Norwood and West Adelaide, live from the parade, with a half-time score showing Norwood 9 goals 8-62, leading West Adelaide 9-6-60. You're watching the SANFL live and exclusive to ABC Sport. Hope you're enjoying this match live from Norwood Oval. 11 points the margin in favour of West Adelaide at quarter time and 2 points in favour of the Redlegs at half time. Stay with us throughout the half time break as we'll update you on the Port Power Melbourne match from the MCG being played right now. The Power in trouble early. We might just see how they're faring as we go into three-quarter time in that match in Melbourne. We'll also have a look at tonight's match between the Crows and Sydney at Football Park later tonight. And if you were with us last week, you saw a little teaser, a preview of the 1961 grand final between West Adelaide and Norwood. We will show you some vision from that match, and I think for some of you people who have a little bit of nostalgia and still have a memory, you'll enjoy some of the highlights from that match. But for now, we look backwards, and we look to Geelong and Port Adelaide last week, Andrew, and you must say that it was very disappointing for Port Adelaide. They went into the match undefeated, and in the finish, a 41-point loss flattered them. They were just woeful throughout the game.
Mark Williams will be very disappointed with that. They got out the blocks. They've done everything right this year. Started very well in the pre-season. A real reality check for Port Adelaide last week. But I think they can do with that. That'll be okay. I think they'll bounce back, but it did expose a few weaknesses that they might have.
I looked at the stats last week. Wanganeen with 26 possessions, Longo with 25, Dickey had 23 and Kingsley had 22. Now, when you see their midfielders collect those sorts of possessions, Port Adelaide rarely lose, but it was the Geelong big men in their forward line that really did the damage.
Yeah, they've definitely played a tall forward line, Geelong, all year. I think they were a bit more desperate, and that's very un-Port Adelaide-like, and that would be what Mark Williams would be concentrating on this week. They were just a little bit more desperate and had a few more options up forward.
Michael Parsons, we look to Port Adelaide, and this week no Darryl Poole, he's out injured. They've dropped Nathan Eagleton, but they've brought in Derek Murray and Stephen Daniels. How do you see the changes?
Yes, mate, Derek Murray, we saw him play his first game against Centrals, and he is a little live wire, I think that word is. But he's won a couple of medals in his junior career, won a best and fairest in the under-18 competition, and then won the best and fairest for playing for New South Wales in the under-18 competition. So he's well-credentialed, and he comes in. He's at the foot of the pack, and he's just got a burst of speed that's unbelievable, and he's also got very good skills, as we've seen as he's played for South Adelaide through this season so far. So he'll be a good inclusion for them, and you know, it'll be interesting to see just how he shapes up in that level of competition.
Fair enough. And Mark Nally, I guess one of the problems for the Port Power side is the big gun forwards for the Demons in Neitz, Schwartz and Jeff White, and I suppose they're still going to have to look after little Jeff Farmer.
Yes, a danger player in that side definitely is Jeff Farmer. I mean, it's how quick he is. But you're right, I mean, up there they've got Schwartz, they've got players like that, Neitz as well. I mean, they've got good, strong tools that can mark the ball. Also with Farmer up there, a very, very dangerous player.
Fair enough. Have you got a tip? Who did you tip, Mark, should I ask?
Well, it's a bit easy. I mean, it's half-time over there, and I've just been looking at the scoreboard, so I'll go for Melbourne.
You are just so full of it, it's unbelievable. Don't you start either, as we go to the scoreboard in the match between Port Power and Melbourne. It's progressive score into the third quarter. Port Adelaide 6-11, Melbourne 9-8. But, Andrew, they're still not out of it yet, Port Adelaide.
Looks like they've had plenty of opportunity. There's nothing in the scoring shot, so Port Adelaide's still in the hunt over there at the MCG.
What about last week? The Crows and the Brisbane Lions. It was a 2-point ball game at half-time. But in the final analysis, when it was all said and done, the Crows got flogged in the second half.
Well, that's an understatement, really. I mean, to be beaten by that much, they'd be very, very disappointed. And they're just not travelling all that well at the moment, the Crows. There's a lot of room for improvement. They've got a few key players down on form, Nigel Smart, and they just haven't had enough players to kick goals either. They've relied a bit on Darren Jarman to get 4 or 5. And there's a few other players up forward that really need to put their hand up and kick some goals.
Interesting point you've made there, Andrew. We might pose that one to Mark Naley. Jarman kicked 4 and Bond kicking 1 of his 2 goals there last week. Burton and McLeod got singles, but the Crows don't seem, Mark, to have the firepower up forward.
Well, you just sort of look at their side at the moment, David, and we sort of sat this time last year and also the year before and just questioned whether they're going to get through for the season, where were they going to finish, and all of a sudden they ended up with the flag at the end of the year. So just don't panic just yet. I mean, your blokes are making comments, but just wait. I mean, the season is well, you know, a lot of games to be played yet in this season. I just think Adelaide Crows just need a little bit of time and they'll find some form. But you're right. I mean, Nigel Smart, there's a question mark over him for tomorrow's game. But I mean, players like that with that sort of quality, they'll bounce back and they'll be, you know, come finals time, come September. That's if they make the 8, which I'm sure they will. They'll be around the mark.
And one of the disappointing things, Andrew, is that Brisbane kicked 11 goals, 10 in the second half. The Crows managed 2 goals, 1. And normally the Crows pride themselves on a big, strong second half.
They do indeed, but the conditions up there would have been a low-scoring game. But just getting back to that, I mean, playing Darren Jarman at full forward there, Malcolm Blight's had the luxury of being able to bring him off the bench, use him as a pinch hitter, and they just need the other players around their forward line to put their hand up and kick a few more goals. He's not going to be able to hold down full forward all year for them.
Fair enough. As we look to the Crows and Sydney tonight at Football Park. And there are the sides. We'll pick it out. Jarman is back at full forward. Burton is in a forward pocket, and Bond, their 3 leading goal scorers from last week. They've gone with the same forward line.
Certainly sticking to the same forward line. Matthew Robran back on the home turf. They'll be looking for a big game from him. And Sydney without Tony Lockett. I think the Crows will bounce back. Their midfielders have been playing well. Tyson, Eccles and James. And David Pittman's been terrific.
Michael, we look to Simon Feast playing his first game for the Sydney as we go to the Sydney lineup. He's named in the ruck.
Yeah, good luck to Simon Feast. We saw him dominate in this league last year. Was very effective standing in the square and being used to control the ball as Sturt brought the ball out from their back lines. It'll be interesting to see what Rodney Heed has in line for Simon Feast, and it's probably a great game for him to start against. He knows the players in the Adelaide Crows probably better than any other team, and he's not up against a huge body. David Pittman going to probably lead the rucks for Adelaide. He's a big, strong lad, but he's not, the extra 6'8", 6'9", 6'10" that Simon Feast would have to jump against as he gets further into his career, and that's where I think he will struggle. But Sydney, they've got their first win. It was a great comeback win for them last week. And one of the interesting things was Darren Creswell. I think he had 40 touches last week and failed to make the best players so in the local rag. So that's not a bad performance and not to get in the best player. And Paul Kelly running himself back into form. I've still got a little bit of Sydney in me, and I think they might just win.
You've still got some of their money in you, no doubt about that. And we talked about those 2 players, but Paul Kelly, Stuart Maxfield, Scotty Russell, Wayne Schwass, and then you throw in Darren Creswell. They're a tough bunch to man up on.
Absolutely, extremely talented and experienced as well. A lot of those players have played a lot of games. I'd be interested to see if Malcolm Blight puts anyone on Paul Kelly. He normally plays a defensive role, but he just about single-handedly won the game for Sydney against North Melbourne, and he's got to be stopped.
Rodney Eade said during the week, or after last week's game, he's the most inspirational skipper in history. I wonder whether Malcolm Blight can put a fire extinguisher on him tonight. Who's your tip?
I'm going for the Crows. I think they'll bounce back strongly.
What about you, Nails?
I'm going for the Crows, David.
And the big parcel?
Yeah, it will be a close one, but I've already put my money on Sydney, so I've got to go that way, don't I?
All right, fair enough. One of the things we promise you throughout the year, of course, is to have a look at some of the local supporters, support staff and characters of the game. Well, today we go to Neil Havers. He's a big personality. He's also the Redlegs team manager.
My role at the moment is the team manager for the league side, and that involves anything to do within the rooms, getting the players prepared for Saturdays and everything. So it's involving people who have lost jocks and socks and everything else, getting them ready for Saturdays virtually. It's a different world in the rooms from what people see on the grounds. On a Saturday they see the football and they tip buckets on you, but when you're in the rooms it's a great friendship and it's a different world. It's a great thing for me to be able to be involved with the Norwood Football Club as somewhere to get away from work. Once I leave work, it's Norwood, and especially on Saturday, the kids have flown the nest and Norwood's it. Well, there is a period of a 6 weeks break, and I've got I have a loving wife at home that draws the list up of jobs between end of the season and the start of pre-season, which I have to work very hard to get done around home. I wasn't really directly involved with the Michael Aish and the Keith Thomas, but since I have been directly involved with the league side, Gary McIntosh would be the best one. Monday's about a 3-hour trip. Wednesday nights, because I need the teams and the team sheets for the advertisers and budgets, is about 4 hours. Friday nights, a quick one, about 2.5, and about 10 hours on a Saturday. But part of that is social.
And a big part of it, Neil, too. Couldn't get a better bloke. You go down for the team sheets. Michael Parsons does that for us each week, and he gives you a razz, and he's just a ripper bloke around the club. And they're important, those sorts of characters. Now, if you're a West Adelaide fan, we'll get to you in time, we promise you. But think for me some West Adelaide characters, Andrew.
There's a few around. Ray Hayes, he was a scary individual. Flies, you met?
Yes.
1983 grand final, had an influence, and Grantley Filkey's a funny man.
Well, I think more of the characters like David Shipway, who is always polishing off a red over a West Adelaide game. Perhaps Dougie Thomas is probably one of their greatest characters of all time. And I think there's some of their ladies auxiliary there that give us scones and cup of tea at 3/4 time when we're at Richmond Oval. There's some characters there. I'd like to get a hold of some of them and have a chat. Now, an important issue, one I'd seek your opinion on. Northern Territory still want to have a team in the SANFL. Now, as a recently retired player, you've enjoyed the bye. Now, if the Northern Territory happen to get a side in, that's going to dissipate. There'll be games away in Alice Springs, maybe even in Darwin. How do you see that?
I reckon that's fantastic. I think it'd be really exciting for players to have the opportunity to travel interstate. The footy lovers up there, and to see sides from Adelaide go up there every week would be great for them. And I mean, as a player, it'd be great to travel every week or every second week.
Nails, would you like to go and commentate a game in Alice Springs?
David, I was speaking to one of the Northern Territorians this week. I had a beer with him down my local hotel, and we're talking about that concept, and they're all for it, and I reckon I am as well. I just think it's going to be great for our competition if we can extend it to that part of our country. And I just love it up that in that area, and just the people up there, some great footballers that come from that region, and I just think it'd be great for our competition.
Seems that Mark Nally has a beer with absolutely everyone. Michael Parsons, $1.5 million is what's required annually for the Northern Territory side to come in. Where are they going to get the money?
It'll be an interesting call, won't it, as far as where the money's coming from. But one thing, I just enjoyed that interview with the Norwood team manager, Big Neil. But we've got to say hello to Trevor Hupp, who's normally the West Adelaide team manager, and unfortunately he went into hospital on Wednesday and had a bypass operation. Fairly sick there for a while apparently, but Big Trev, if you're listening, and I'm sure you are, then we wish you well. But back to the money, yes, you'd think that maybe we're going to have to see Rob Gerard, see if he can find a few more shekels in that big deep pocket. It is a drain on the league and the finances of the league, but I'd love to see that team come in.
Well, stay there, Michael, because you're the man on the spot in drug testing. We know it exists in basketball. We know what the position is for the AFL, and we know the SANFL have had Brian Sandow around over the last few weeks advising the SANFL clubs on their responsibilities in terms of drug testing.
I think it's one thing that's just going to have to come in. It's across the world in sport, with new drugs being developed all the time. It's an issue to keep up with screening the drugs. But I really think the SANFL have just got to take a stand and get the drug tests out there, even on a limited basis, just so that the players are aware that if you step across that line, then you're going to get caught.
Thanks for that, Michael. Now, one man who's involved in the whole process, Andrew Payes, you're on the tribunal for this matter. Tell us about how that all functions.
Well, I guess it developed. Murray Tippett rang me and said, as a past player, do you think it's a problem in our league? And I certainly said it wasn't. However, they had to conform with the AFL and what they're doing, so we've put something in place there, and I really hope it's a job that I have absolutely nothing to do with all year. The quieter I am, the better it'll be.
Tell me if I'm right, there's going to be 3 players from each club 3 times a year tested at random, pre-season, during and late in the season. Is that the structure as you understand it?
That's the way they'll do it. They'll do it randomly, and they'll test them for all the banned substances along with everything else that comes up in the blood. But I guess, as I said, I hope it's something that doesn't bog us down for too long this year.
Let me put you on the spot. A recreational drug is shown up in the sample. Not illegal, but what's the counselling process for that player?
Well, I think you're always going to get that. However, I mean, if it was found that player was using it regularly, then I think it's the club's responsibility to address it with him, and obviously the form would show that if he was doing something untoward too often, then he wouldn't be playing too well.
Fair enough. Now, if you're a bit of a computer buff, one of the innovations that the SANFL have launched this week is the SANFL website. Now, it's www.sanfl.com.au, and there you can see the opening page. It says, welcome to the official SANFL website. Now, Andrew, I guess in time, the Eagles and Sturt and the Redlegs will have their own their own sites coming off that, but it's a great innovation by the SANFL.
Oh, it's just the way everything's going at the moment with computers, and the kids can get at home and punch in there their favourite side and find out what's happening around the clubs week in, week out.
Should ask Mark Nally if he can use a computer. Would you be able to get there, Mark?
David, I was born too late. I still use a slide rule at home when I work out calculations.
Fair enough. We shouldn't have even asked, should we? And as we promised you earlier, we're going to show you some vision of a quite famous game. It's between West Adelaide and Norwood. It's the 1961 Grand Final. Now have a look at this Bill Wedding in ruck, Andrew. Now, we look back to the side that had West Adelaide won this match. Of course, they went into the match not as favourites. Norwood were the favourites. West Adelaide led by 9 points at quarter time. They led by 11. They trailed by 11 points Norwood at half time. And from the second half, it was all West Adelaide.
It's just amazing watching footage like that. I thought I saw you in the crowd as well, which was a bit of a worry in 1961. But
yeah, I was
just
too.
see where the players, they play their own positions in those days. We see now where there's just a number of players around the ball, but they tended to just play their own positions then. But
now some of the names in this match are famous. Dougie Thomas played at full forward.
Mentioned him
Ron
before.
Benton at the half forward flank for West Adelaide. Ken Eustace was on the wing for West Adelaide, and Neil Curley was in ruck, and they've all gone on to be famous names in South Australia. Now, what about the halfback line? Rue, Bray and Bennett. Now, if you talk to any of the old West Adelaide old-timers, they'll talk about some of the greatest players, defensive players, in West Adelaide's history.
Jack Broadstock.
Well, he wasn't in
Thomas.
this team. Now, question, when was Norwood's last premiership before this game? It was 1950.
I
So
knew that.
it was 11 years before they made a grand final, and their next grand final appearance was 1975 when they played Glenelg. So it was a long time. We think about how famous Norwood are, and this is just outstanding vision.
It certainly is. Have a look at the crowd there. They certainly went to the footy in their droves and still do, but that's amazing stuff.
I'll give you the best. As there's the score, 9-7-61, 12-8-80. That's the three-quarter time score, and we now go into the final quarter. Now in the final term, West Adelaide kicked 4 goals, 5, and Norwood, who were still in contention at three-quarter time, kicked 2 goals straight, and the West Adelaide side ran out victors by 36 points. Look at the crowd.
Absolutely magnificent. You just see the mongrel punt straight through the middle. Straightest kick in the land, they said.
Best players for West Adelaide were Curley, Rue, Eustace, Benton and Ryan. And for Norwood, the best players were Aish, Lil, Oti, Johnson and Minavini, another famous Norwood name. And goal kickers, DeBro kicked 5 for West Adelaide, Hogan kicked 4, Benton, Wright and Garrett kicked 2 for West Adelaide, and for Norwood it was Minavini, Kite, Oti and Lil kicking 2. Just a little bit of history for you, just in case you're a bit young to remember all of that.
Certainly was. Oh, I certainly wasn't even born then, David. What are you talking about? But
You weren't even a
Minavini,
twinkle then.
Aish, Oti, sons went on to play league footy, so that's an interesting little stat as well.
I hope you enjoy those segments. We have a little bit of fun bringing them to you. Each half-time of our SANFL match of the game, we'll bring you something like that, and I hope you'll enjoy some of those. As we go to the half-time highlights in the first game outside here, it's the Eagles 9-2, 56, Central 5-3, 33, an important match for the Eagles, and 12-10 Glenelg to 9-4, an important match for Glenelg.
9 goals, 4 in the second quarter there. Fantastic effort from the Bays after trailing by a couple of goals there at quarter time.
Fair enough. Now back to this match, Andy. 11 points at quarter time, 2 points the difference. 11 points at quarter time, 2 points at half time. And you've got to say that this match in the second half could go anywhere.
Absolutely. It's just been a great contest. It's just been a great game of footy. No side's been able to get out on their own and create an ascendancy. It's been a battle of the forwards. We've seen goals kicked everywhere, and I think the first 5 or 10 minutes of this quarter is going to tell the story for the game. Who can crack it open?
What about the tackling that we saw in the first half?
We'll just have a look. There's been ball-ups all over the ground. Both sides desperate to get underneath, holding the ball in the area, and I think we saw a piece of play during that first half where the ball was hanging around one area for about 5 minutes and the umpires just let it go.
Well, I think it was good umpiring. The desperation shown by both sides was just fantastic. Now, we talked about Christian O'Brien, who we thought wasn't going to have a big day. He was struggling in the first quarter, to be absolutely fair. But when he gets moving, he is a tough player to shift. And look at Jared Crouch just pushing that ball in. His skills are superb.
Only about 6 foot, Christian O'Brien, but on 3 or 4 occasions he showed real strength, either to take the mark or bring it to the front. And Robert Neal's been a terrific foil for him as well. He's chipped in for 5 goals, and Norwood have got options along with West Adelaide.
Now that was Adam Crouch, who just shows beautiful skills, doesn't he? He looks pretty good in the number 12 Guernsey. Now what about, we talk about Greg Mellor and the type of skills that he possesses. He really looks in the front, the West Adelaide skipper, and when he gets the ball, you always know something's going to happen.
Certainly hasn't troubled the statistician too often. Eagleton's had a few kicks, but Greg Mellor kicked 2 goals before quarter time to give the Bloods a lead, and here we see he's read the ball beautifully off the pack here, and yeah, once again straight through the middle. So I think he's only had about 4 or 5 kicks, but he's kicked 3 goals, so he's been invaluable.
As we go to the half-time scoreboard here at Norwood Oval, it shows the Redlegs 9-8, West Adelaide 9-6, 2 points in it, and anyone's game at half-time.
Certainly is absolutely nothing in it, and we see here the goal kickers. Neil with 5, we've mentioned before, O'Brien 2, and for West Adelaide, Mellor, their captain's kicked 3 goals, along with the big fella up forward, Adam Richardson. He's got 3 as well.
Mark Nayley, of course, is the very studious type, and he's been poring over the stats. Walk us through them, please, Mark.
Well, Dave, you can't get any closer than what they've got there this afternoon. You see Norwood with 80 kicks, 73 effective ones. West Adelaide 80 kicks, 74 effective ones. So one difference there. Handballs the same, 35 and 35, with 31 of those being effective in both sides. Marks, well, again, West Adelaide still on top, but we've come to expect that with their height out there today. Frees are even. Just look at that whole thing, even centre square break. So you just see how close this game is. Just look at the stats. That tells the story.
Does now. Andrew, you talked about some matchups. Neil has kicked 5. Is there a move? And Richardson at the other end has kicked 3 goals. But I guess both coaches would be happy that, other than perhaps Neil, who's dominated the first half, you just wonder who can pick him up.
I really don't think there's a necessity for any coach to make any changes. I think they'd be very proud of their charges' efforts. I think the idea is stick to the players that have been manning up on them so far, and let the game flow. We mentioned before that a guy the size of Richardson, 105 kilograms and very, very difficult to move. I mean, it just doesn't matter who you play on him. The idea is to cut the supply off and just make sure the midfielders aren't hitting him right where he wants to be hit, and that's straight out in front of his eyes.
The umpires are preparing for the second half here at Norwood Oval. Stay with us. We're live until 5 on the ABC. Your commentator is Mark Nayley.
Yes, thank you, David. We see the ball bounced here, the middle of Norwood Oval. Big Yerbury again, hand of the ball, gets it down to Crouch. Crouch quickly goes back and finds Doreen. Comes out wide. There'll be a foot race. Davey looks like he's come on. Handball's back. Harvey steps around his opponent, chips the ball up towards forward, and a mark is taken. Bad kick there by Harvey and finds Richardson. So Richardson had his, I would say, his colours lowered there in the first half, with Neil kicking 5 goals.
He had his pants lowered, Mark.
I think he has. Colours. Well, back again, coming through. Doreen goes out wide. Another bad kick. Syme should clean this up. He does. He's going back. He's got Harvey who's trying to chase him down, gives the ball back to Connell. Connell goes around his body, a good kick up forward. Gray couldn't take it. He's been moved up forward. The handball comes to the middle of the ground. Toomey across. West Adelaide can build something here. The lovely kick, lace out. The mark's taken by Howard. Beautiful play there by the Bloods going forward.
Great kick to him. A great mark, and he lines up for his 3rd goal here. We just see the value of being able to move the ball quickly through the midfield, and an accurate kick out in front results in a shot for goal for the big fella.
Howard's kick 2. That one's going right off to the right. It's hit the point post. It's out of bounds on the full, and a free kick in defence for the Redlegs.
See where Peter Rhodes made a change. He's brought Todd Davey onto the ground for the first time today, and interesting to see his run from defence.
Scott Bassett, long ball. Yerbury couldn't take it. Lachlan Bowman just crashes through. He's like a big tractor. Just keeps going and forcing the ball forward. Into space it goes. Davey with the new short haircut. Well, he looks pretty fit, doesn't he, the number 7? And good news that he's back for the Redlegs.
Very, very desperate player. Very important player in their side, and he's got the responsibilities with the vice captaincy, and he'll be looking to stamp his authority on the game now that he's come on.
Yerbury thumps it down, but it's stolen by Mark West. Got a quick kick away, and into space it goes. DeRosa was manhandled. Said the umpire, or will the advantage be allowed to flow? It doesn't. The ball will come back, and DeRosa will take the free kick.
I reckon it was just Jerry Dantokia's leg there. They were both going for the ball and he's just clipped him as he's gone forward.
So DeRosa will take the free kick.
Dark on that one, Jerry, I think.
He'll kick from 50. Game number 4 for West Adelaide. He's only kicked 1 goal, which is rare because we saw him really demolish the goals in practice matches. He really got amongst them. And so far this season, he has only the one, and that one is a point.
It's interesting to see the zone here, very important out here at Norwood Oval. We've got the designated kicker there in Roger James, and he'll be looking for someone to try and free up and get some movement forward. If not, go straight down the middle.
Little chip kick. It's found Crouch. Crouch go back to James. He indicated he wanted to go towards him. The ball has now gone out looking for Bowman. Bowman in front, put the big arms up, couldn't bring the ball down. Gallagher's in there, flicks it out. Doreen goes wider still. Charge from the clear through Dan Toshia. The great mark going back with the fly of the ball, number 22 and Shane Hodges. 1 point ball game. Played nearly 4 minutes into this third quarter. This is the winning quarter. As we've mentioned before, Gray takes the mark, hits the ground running. Good tackle from behind by Crouch. Bowman mops up. Bowman comes through the centre square, puts it up towards centre half forward. Richardson from behind tried to thump the ball back. He couldn't get there. Cunningham's there, needs support. O'Brien should take this. What can he do? Can he keep it in? I don't think he can. And it's out over the line.
Pace there from Cunningham, found himself in the right spot, but just couldn't get it over the top. The ball ran away from him, but the signs are looking good. Andriski's been with him all day, and won't be the last time those two will be running near the footy today, that's for sure.
Symes and Downsborough go hard at it. It was Ed Richardson who squared it up right down the centre. Crouch was clean bowled, crashing through Yearbury. The big man took them on and handballs away to Harvey, who in turn has Gallagher. A high ball deep into the pocket. It falls. 2 hands, 2 bites. No mark taken by Ed Richardson. Cotton over the top of it, tries to bring it back in. Bannock quite content to carry it across the line and concedes the throw-in.
Just see once again there O'Brien out of position, but he got over there quick enough and forced the ball to the ground, and his strength has just been really invaluable today.
Thrown in once again. Really, there's a lot of players around the football. In there, number 10 was Bannock. Couldn't get his fist to the ball. Bruins in there with him. Anthony Bannock. And also had a quiet afternoon. Only 3 kicks in the 1 handball. Yet to have the mark. So still a 1 point ball game. This is a terrific game of football. What we've come to expect from these two sides. Symes around the body. It's a quick kick, couldn't find his target. Doreen's been in everything this afternoon. I'd love to know who's picking him up. Great kick by Doreen, comes across and finds one of his teammates in Neil, who's already kicked 5. He's lining up for his 6, Andrew.
That's experience and that's class from Doreen there. He just saw Neil, who moved out to the left-hand side of Norwood Oval there, kicked it out in front of him, and fantastic stuff. Lining up for his 6th goal.
Well, if you're picking best players, you'd have to put Scotty Doreen in, the vice-captain of this club, in as best so far in this game. As we see Neil lining up, 45-degree angle, doesn't miss, beautiful action.
6 goals straight. Be pretty hard not to put in for number 1 as well now. Just about be best on ground. 6 goals straight just after half-time. What do you think, DB?
I think you're a pretty good judge, Andy.
Clapping there.
Well, 6 straight is difficult, but it's the ease by which he's done it, to be fair. He's just been out on his own far too often. As we go back to the middle, it's a 7 point ball game. The Redlegs have the advantage, and they've been doing most of the attacking this term. Yearbury up. Stewart thumped it down. Mellor steals it away. It was Toomey with a left footer towards half forward. Bird front position. Dantokia thumping it away. Mellor tried to take it, but stolen away by Obbs. Watch the speeds to run. He can open it up and sprints away. Look at the handball. It was a beauty to Gallagher. Now Eagleton was caught 20 metres behind. A long bomb towards full forward. Free kick goes to the umpire. Play on's the call. Neil comes again. Well done, Ed Richardson, but O'Brien, oh, he was an opportunist and gets his 3rd.
Fantastic stuff by the legs. Just the desperation there of Todd Davey. You see here he's just pushed in there. Obst with excellent pace, gives it inside to young Gallagher. Look at him run and takes off. Beautiful handball inboard, kicks it to the top of the square, and they just bottled it up, Redleg, until they forced a goal forward.
It's the biggest margin for the Redlegs in this game. We see them now. They've moved out with 13-point margin.
Litmus test for West Adelaide. Every time Norwood have got in front, they've replied. It's been the story of the day. Now the pressure's right on them.
Newbury over the top, thumps the ball forward, jumps at it again. He really does. His second effort is quite good. Big fella in Newbury will thump it, then follow it up.
This is the biggest margin. This is the biggest margin of the match. 13 points in favour of the Redlegs. And they just seem to sense that they're there for the kill. You can feel the intensity lifting. Harvey to Cotton was good play. Obst running wide, finding plenty of space, flips it over the top to Downsborough. He's starting to work himself into this game. A long one from 50. Goes long towards the goals. It's going to bounce which way? Wrong side of the post, a point.
Norwood have got on top in the midfield. Crouch, Doreen, and also Obst is certainly doing plenty on the wing there, and that's been the difference. West Adelaide have been tested here. A few errors just starting to creep in.
There's the kick in. Wasn't touched, so the ball will be brought back in by Lockie Bowman. Now, the question is, centre half back, can he kick a goal from out that wide?
The question is, why would you try?
Everyone loves to kick goals. There's no doubt he's going to go for it.
Well, they must have tried this at training. He's great kick by Bowman. He's put it on high and it was on its way. Ah, it's a lovely kick.
Now, what do the boys do, Andy, when you're out in the field and the defender doesn't square it up? He has a shot for goal and kicks it out of bounds on the full.
Well, first of all, you don't kick it to him again. You give him a bit of a spray and you jump up and down and ask why he didn't kick it to him.
And
proof's in the pudding.
Well, it'll all take place in the showers, I promise you. They'll let him know about it. DeRosa over the top. Obst just harassing him. And hasn't Obst lifted his game?
He certainly has been a key influence. Got into the game in the second quarter there. He's carried it onto this quarter, and his pace is just electrifying, and he's one player that can break this game up.
At the bounce. Good shot of the ball. Stewart got it out. Andriski off balance, still dispatched the kick. Cotton, good courage, but couldn't complete the mark. Over the top of it, Clements gathers in the ball and tries to force his way out, but couldn't. Good pressure by Bruin, and Mellor held him in. I'll just have a look at some of these matchups. I'd like to know who's got Gallagher, if you would, for me, Andrew.
Certainly.
He's been running free and wide. Stewart towards the boundary line. Obst further afield, quite content to reset.
Yeah, Nathan Eagleton's moved on to young Gallagher, which is a good move, and certainly a credit to young Gallagher to have a player of the calibre of Nathan Eagleton to be put on him. So that speaks volumes for his game today.
I think there'll be a few talent scouts measuring Gallagher's game against the player of Eagleton's quality. Obst forces through, did very well, ahead of Toomey. Crashes the kick forward. Doreen just inside 50, needs support, gets it over the top to Neil, who's running. He has 6 on the left boot. He goes, bends it around the corner. Harvey was the target. Off hands, it's Hodges just inside the defensive line, lifts the eyes and finds Matty Connell. Connell goes further afield, and it's Andriski forward to the big ruckman in Mark Stewart. He releases the ball. DeRosa dragged off the ball. The umpire said he was staging, no free kick, and Cunningham to the boundary line.
Just a poor option then. Didn't need to give it. The guy was under pressure and he got tackled from behind there. Just a bit of an inexperience. But you just sense that Norwood have got them under pressure, and just a few errors are starting to creep into the game here now.
We've seen Norwood a couple of times this year, and even last week's win wasn't that impressive. A couple of games prior to that, which they got their colours lowered. But today, fellas, they really have come out. They've played a good brand of football, stuck to some team rules, just found a little bit of confidence. We just see one player there just handball the ball. Number 10, Robert Neal, has had a sensational afternoon. Here comes Harvey.
Gallagher again just showing real maturity for a guy at his age. He's just pinpointed Harvey there, took his time, gave the ball a little bit of air on the left foot, and let Harvey run onto it. It was well done again.
So Harvey Tight against the white boundary line. Will kick only from 25, 30 metres. He's kicked it. What the umpire indicated, I think it is a behind. There's no doubt about that. So we see 11-10-76 plays West Adelaide 9-7-61. So they've got to keep within touch. There's no breeze here, so that won't favour either side coming into the last quarter. But West Adelaide just can't allow this side to get away.
A long one to Symes, big fly, couldn't complete the mark. Dantokia forward, it was Crouch. Good on left or right foot, spears the ball into O'Brien. Clever skills.
It's the fourth time he's done it today, and I reckon he's found O'Brien. O'Brien's going to be happy with him tonight. He's hit him right on the chest about 3 or 4 times, and Norwood have just held the ball in the area there, either from a point or from a rebound from West Adelaide. They've used the zone, they've built up that wall at centre half forward, and they've just keep pumping it in. Christian O'Brien, and he's been outstanding with his strength all day.
Adam's brother Jared, of course, now with Sydney. You can see that you might pencil Adam Crouch's name against a draft choice. As O'Brien with 3 goes towards goal. The goal umpire bends back, arches the back. He likes it. It's 4 on the board to O'Brien, and the big gap jumps away. It's difficult for the West Adelaide side to come back. They're 21 points down.
Biggest margin we've seen all day, and Norwood are just controlling the midfield through their youngsters. Crouch, Gallagher, Obsters on top through the midfield, and I'll be just interested to see what Nathan Eagleton does here. He's actually been moved, if we can see there, over onto Obst, whether he plays a defensive role or understanding that if he wants to be noticed and come back into the Port side, he needs to get his hands on the footy as well.
Christian O'Brien in game number 50, fellas, too. We've missed that milestone.
Yerbury, Stewart, this time Yerbury again gets his hand on the ball. Quick kick there, was trying to get out. Couldn't find it. Harvey goes up and takes the mark. He's got players streaming past him. Could give the handball. Does pick one out in the rover in Yerbury. Yerbury kicks it up towards the forward line. Parker will come out. He's favoured by the bounce. O'Brien, where'd he come from? Tremendous pickup over his left shoulder. It's a high ball going back. It was Richardson. And what's the umpire going to say here? Symes or Richardson? He gives it to Symes. Symes takes it. The ball's out wide. Will it keep in? I think it won't. It doesn't. And the ball will be thrown in.
Chasing.
In other matches around town this afternoon, it's the Eagles leading Central District. Well, you worry for the Bulldogs, don't you? The Eagles consolidate 3rd position today if West Adelaide lose, and Glenelg a whopping lead over North Adelaide. There must be a gale blowing down there, as it's a to and fro game.
How could there be a gale blowing down there? There's not a breath of wind out here.
I was joking.
Both in the same state.
No,
I didn't pick that joke up.
Thanks for that.
Sorry, mate.
Very dry humour. Yerbury to Cotton. Well, he's looking better for Norwood, isn't he? And that's a beautiful kick. Just a cracker.
They've just been cleaner going forward, Norwood. Noticed in the 3rd quarter here, lining up O'Brien for his 5th goal. And what a beautiful kick coming forward from Fine Cotton.
Christian O'Brien with 4 this afternoon. 80 goals for his career from 50 matches. He's 50th today. Started slowly. 2 goals in the 2nd. 2 goals so far in the 3rd. And going for goal number 5. And you just worry about West Adelaide's ability to come back if he nails this one. And he has, right through the middle. Dead-eye Dick, game number 50. Well done, Christian O'Brien.
Fair return from both forwards, Neil and O'Brien. O'Brien, who was quieter in the first half, he's just bobbed his head up and kicked 3 or 4, and I reckon they've only kicked 1 point between them.
Well, I said at the 5-minute mark of this 3rd quarter, when there was 1 point margin, the 3rd quarter is going to be the match-winning one. I think we've just seen Norwood have just kicked up a notch in their tempo, their desperation, the intensity has just increased. And we've just seen them all of a sudden gone from a 1 point margin now. And they really have blown this game apart. They're up to 27 points. So fantastic for the Redlegs. What can the Bloods do? The game's not over. There's still a lot of football to be played. We see Pitt come off the half-back line. Good kick up forward. Davey couldn't take it. Back there was Andruski. Gives the handball. Didn't hit his target. Richardson comes out. Plenty of pressure applied by Cotton. Back now to Gallagher. He won't waste the ball. Hits to the top of the square. And I told you, doesn't waste it, Gallagher. Always finds a target.
And he's killing Eagleton.
Inboard again. They've actually made a move. Put Eagleton onto Obbs. But Gallagher on the left or right, it doesn't matter. He's very, very cool under pressure, and he's just a very, very good decision maker for someone of that age.
Downsborough, 48 metres, he's pushed it. It's behind the Downsborough.
Had a chance to bury him then, didn't they? Just got underneath it a bit and pushed it right. Bloods are under pressure. First real time during the game. Let's see if they can respond.
Andrew, the designated kicker from fullback, puts it straight into the arms of Mark Stewart. He's been pretty impressive today, fellas. I like the way he goes about his game.
Certainly palmed the ball well. I think Yerbury's been more dominant in the back play. Certainly had more influence around the ground, but his ruck play's been good.
Toomey to Mellor, big fly from behind Clement Spoils. DeRosa, who's a very clever rover, on the left boot, pushes it out in front of Adam Richardson. They need the big full forward firing.
It's just the first time they've done that this quarter. Clean through the middle, excellent crumb to the front from DeRosa. Put it out in front of the big fella, and now he lines up. And if ever they've needed him to kick a goal, it's right now.
We saw him in that second quarter where he just was outside 50 and really did struggle to make the distance. Now he's outside 50 here. Just had to sit and watch. He's realised he was. He's played the ball out. Nice kick and a good mark.
Dion Miles.
Well done by the big fella then. I mean, he learnt from it before, as you mentioned, and realised that he wasn't going to make the distance, waited for the lead. Miles presented the option and took a good slips catch.
Miles has kicked one behind so far in this match as West Adelaide make an interchange. We might follow that through in just a moment. This is an important kick for West Adelaide. You just feel that at 19.5 minutes into the third quarter, if he misses this, you might see some West Adelaide heads drop. If he kicks it, they still think they're in with a chance with a quarter and a bit to go. He's taking his time. He knows it's an important kick, Miles, and he's done the right thing for the club. He's drilled it dead centre, and he gets his first.
Great kick from the big fella there. We saw in the first quarter that he had a real influence, and they really needed that one, West Adelaide, to keep themselves in touch. And you just sense if they can get another goal here just before three-quarter time, beg your pardon, that they've got a chance to get themselves back into the game. But it really has been all Norwood this quarter.
As we go down to Michael Parsons for the interchange updates.
Jones has gone on for Stewart for West Adelaide, and Bowen just coming on for Yerbury, and I think you see Downsborough going to compete for this centre bounce, as he does, and wins it.
Oh, players just flying through the middle of the ground. Broom's out in front of James the first time this afternoon. Takes the mark. He's within distance, so just needs to go back and just straighten up his body.
The Bloods realise the importance of that centre clearance after the goal to Miles. They've responded well. If Bruin can go back and kick it, they're right back in the hunt.
Normally fairly reliable left foot kick. And he's happy with the result. Wasn't too much emotion shown by his teammates, but it's a goal. And that's Broom's first for the afternoon, and the Bloods all of a sudden have just kicked back in.
That's his second goal, and 2 goals in as many minutes. The Bloods are back in town, and it's just what they needed. Norwood have dominated this quarter. We just see some clean movement. The ball quickly out of the centre here at Norwood Oval, and they've turned it into goals. This next centre clearance, very important.
16 points the margin. Still time for West Adelaide if they're good enough. They've been competitive all day. Obbs goes crashing through. DeRosa picks up the loose crumb. Now it's the Prime Minister, Howard, over the back door. Eagleton sells the dummy beautifully, forces it over the top to Mellor. The handball was smothered. Gee, Gallagher is a clever little player. You talk about, Obbs has gone, I think he's injured. But he's still good enough to apply a tackle, but it wasn't enough to stop West Adelaide. DeRosa going forward. Connolly uses the ball always beautifully. Oh, that was no exception. And straight into the arms of Troy Gray.
Just had the momentum there, West Adelaide, through the midfield. You called it right, David. Obbs looks proppy, and he's been very influential this quarter, so important for Norwood's chances if he can stay up and running. We just see him talking with the runner there. But more importantly, if Troy Gray can kick the goal, Bloods are back in town.
Troy Gray, right on the 50-metre line. He lets it go with a booming left leg. He's pulled it to the cross, kicked a little bit too hard. Add the distance, not the accuracy. And behind comes up. Would have made a very interesting going into three-quarter time there. He kicked that major. We just see here, obsed over the football. It's crashed into there by Toomey. Nothing too serious about it. Just looking up and seeing Obs out there. He doesn't look in too much discomfort. So Crouch, the back pocket, puts it on its way. Thumped from behind by Gray. Now who's first there? Dantoshi releases the ball. Bloods have numbers around it. Gray's in there, gives it across to Gray. Gray quickly onto his boot. Richardson's back, but Broom's there. Good mark. Just nudged out James, gave himself half a metre from behind. That was enough to be able to take it. And this should not be missed, directly in front. The umpire's taking him round on a slight angle. He's already kicked 2 goals, kicked the last one. This will be his third. It's through. The Bloods are back. 12-8 play, 13-11. So the Bloods really have, in the last 5 minutes, David Mackay, they've just kicked themselves back into this game.
You just look to where they're going to get the spark from. Bruner's ignited them in the forward line. Richardson's getting no space at all at full forward. And I think one of the things structurally is that the West Adelaide forward line need to move around a little bit more, get Richardson coming from the goal square straight up the ground and looking for him. But at this stage, Brune's doing the job. Miles has drifted out of the game. Gray is coming into it. But they need a lift from their midfield and from their full forward.
Yeah, some good touches there, as we saw, players running through hard. We're back in the middle of the game. 9 points now. Ball's up high. Downsbury gets his hand on the ball again. But really is putting it down the Bloods' smaller player's throat. It comes through Gallagher. Just quick kick up forward. Good discipline work by the Bloods defender. Chance here through Doreen. Puts it on its way. It's a great kick. Plenty of experience. Good build-up. He's already kicked one. That's his second for the afternoon. So from 9 points, they go out to 15 points now, the Redlegs.
Very balanced player there. We just see the class of Scott Doreen. We've seen him in a couple of crucial plays this quarter already, where he's found O'Brien and Neil and forced onto the left foot and straight through the middle. Very, very well balanced footballer.
'80 plays 95. It's back to a 15-point ball game at the bounce. Sam Jones wins it. DeRosa gets it out of the middle towards space now. Obbs seems fine. He seems to have recovered. Brune tries to look for support. Gets none. Eagleton tackled. Gets it away. Very clever Cotton to Obbs, who speeds forward. Drills it towards centre half forward. The ball's brought to ground by Ed Richardson. Downsborough tries to crash through unsuccessfully. Now it's Howard who grubbers one. Into space he goes. Toomey, support. Connell, inboard. It's Eagleton. Over the top under pressure from Gallagher. Bird got the kick away and into space. It was beautifully weighted and well placed. And the mark has been taken out there just inside the 50-metre line. And it looks to be Robert DeRosa.
A great kick. He just gave it enough air and DeRosa stood his ground there and held onto it. Must go back and kick this goal. We saw Miles before replied with one that gave West Adelaide the momentum. They went on to kick 2 more. Now young Robert DeRosa, he's going to be tested now. He's had a pretty quiet day.
Well, Robert DeRosa kicked 5 goals in a practice match against the Redlegs. Dominated that day and looked like a real likely penetrating rover. He's kicked 1 goal in 4 games and bang, that one's out to the right. Missed comprehensively.
Certainly did. A little bit more pressure out there today than a trial game, and he'll be better for the run. But West Adelaide, they need to hold the ball in the area with this turnover, getting towards the end of the quarter. They must score again.
Stay with us at three-quarter time. We get to visit with Robert DeRosa and find out a little bit more about him.
Ball's kicked back in to Luce Harvey out there. He finds the football, then decides to come across the face of goal and find James. Really do look after each other, those two players. Now James just lays one out to Clements. Clements wants to play on, he does that. Give the handball to Cotton, decides to kick the ball over the centre square line. Big jump from behind by Richardson, takes it. Good grab by Ed Richardson. Gets up, you can see Gray out there by himself. Which way was ball bounce? It bounces high, it'll be taken on by Davey. goes around, Blind turns, back to his left leg, puts it towards Toomey, put him under a hell of a lot of pressure. Back to Andruski. Here's the intelligence to be able to weave his magic through that pack. Mark taken there by Howard. 23 in there for the Bloods. Is Hurd. There's some good defensive work there for the boys in the blue jumper. Directly in front of the members stand here at Norwood Oval, the ball was put down. Downsborough thumps the ball, realising he wasn't being contested. And Andrew, we just see at the moment that Norwood just not giving up.
I just sense that it's going to come back to the side that's got the fresh legs in the last quarter. If either Peter Road or Micah Taylor's got the option there to bring on some fresh legs, then he certainly will do it in the last quarter. It's just been such a hard-fought affair, and both players from both sides have just run their absolute legs off, David, haven't they?
No doubt about it. I think you'll get ready for a tough final quarter. West Adelaide haven't thrown in the towel. We thought that the Redlegs might have been able to finish them off with that goal to O'Brien, but West Adelaide have shown some great character. Connell, the Crow. Now with West Adelaide, a high ball. Lachlan Bowman high over the top, couldn't complete it. Dantokia was claimed by Bird. Bowman goes to ground and Eagleton appeals for the free kick.
Had a few important touches, Nathan Eagleton, towards the end of this quarter, and if he's going to do anything, the last quarter, they'll be watching closely, and he's very, very important to West Adelaide's chances here today, and you see him almost manning up there with Andrew Obst.
I think he has to. I think Gallagher so far has beaten him. I like Eagleton. Connell, quick kick, forces it forward. Bowman was good to thump the ball into space. Now Adam Crouch, watch his skills. He's got beautiful hand and foot skills. Off it goes to Cotton, who delivers the ball beautifully too. Out in front of O'Brien, one bounce. O'Brien couldn't quite get there. And in the finish, Parker had to defend stoutly and go forward to Broon. He couldn't mark it. Gallagher comes inboard. Davey, now Gallagher, I like this kid. Towards goal, it's coming around, but not enough, it's a point. He had to square that up, I think.
Yeah, might have been the first time he's done it today. He's had a ping there. He's obviously feeling very confident, but the option may have been just to kick it to the head of the square like he's done all day and create an opportunity for someone else. So a bit of a blemish there for the young fella, but he's allowed to have one in a full day of footy.
And Drisky to bring the ball back in. He comes out towards the grandstand. Downsborough uses his body and takes the mark. Oh no, the umpires indicated both players. Gray thought possibly it was his.
Fair enough, I couldn't split anything there.
Well, there was no man in front, was there? Both players came in from the side.
Both came from the side and had a fair share of it each. So
good decision,
good decision by the ump.
Yep.
Downsborough was mine.
Mark Nardi will never agree with an umpire. Andrew, you're learning that.
I just think he likes to disagree with you, but never mind.
Well, he won a McGarry medal, and I don't believe the umpires are happy that they've given him those votes. As it's three-quarter time here at Norwood Oval, and it shows the Redlegs leading by 15 points in a tough encounter. The West Adelaide side fought back from nowhere.
Absolutely crucial when Miles took that mark at centre-half forward. They were trailing by at least 3 goals, and he went back and kicked the goal, and it just gave West Adelaide enough momentum to rally there. And it gave the other players some confidence. They went on to kick 2 goals. Broon kicked a couple, and it's given them a chance here. They come into the break here at three-quarter time, full of confidence and full of running.
Terrific game of football as we see the supporters pouring on here onto Norwood Oval. A great crowd witnessing this game as we see the three-quarter time scores here. See Norwood, they're 14 goals, 12-96. West Adelaide, 12 goals, 9-81. And you're sitting at home watching it live and exclusive to ABC Sport.
Certainly hope you're enjoying this match at home with West Adelaide fighting back late in the third quarter to make a game of it. Stay with us. We are live until 5, and I think you'll enjoy the final quarter here from Norwood Oval. Well, Doug Thomas talks about his recruiting ground. It's a cemetery around West Adelaide Way. He says you get no great players from there. Some come from Loxton. A lot come from interstate. We think of a few. John has come from there, Tim Symes, perhaps you throw in Matty Broom, who came from Grovedale. But today we visit with Robert DeRosa, who's one of the best of Doug's recruiting crop.
Turn and face the strain. I'm born and bred in Melbourne. Lived in Melbourne all my life, so it was a big move to come over here, move to Adelaide on my own. Obviously my family and all my friends are back in Melbourne, but I found it easy to adjust to come into South Australia. Originally Doug Thomas got in touch with me, he seemed pretty keen. So originally I come over for a week, travelled over here for a week just to see what it was like, see the club, meet the guys. The club's been excellent in making me fit right in, and also the players absolutely sensational in that way. So it's been quite easy. The training schedule is not as heavy as it is in AFL, but the way the philosophies of the coaches and so forth, it basically doesn't vary all that much. It's right up there with the AFL. I think until I retire, I'll keep on trying and striving to make AFL again. Obviously having a taste of it was absolutely sensational, and I want to try to get up to that standard again. And I see the SANFL and West Adelaide as a great stepping stone to getting back there. Team-wise, we're obviously at this stage we're looking towards our next 6 weeks as a key to our year. Personally, I'm just trying to play my best football I can, and it's been going well the last few weeks. And I'll just keep on striving to get better and better, and obviously, if I can play a big part in the team going a long way this year, it will be absolutely what I'm looking for, basically.
And I think he should be able to do that, Andrew. He showed enough to suggest he's going to be a reasonable player once he's settled in.
Certainly did. It's just been a fantastic game of footy though, hasn't it? I mean, Norwood really got on top there in that third quarter through the midfield, Crouch and Gallagher, and West Adelaide responded. That was just fantastic to see, and it all looms for what's going to be a terrific contest in this last quarter.
When you came here today, did you think that Robert Neal would have 6 goals to three-quarter time?
Well, I had a feeling that O'Brien would get a handful, and he certainly has. But Robert Neal, he kicked 5 goals to half-time, and he hasn't kicked a point either, and he's been well fed by the midfielders, but he certainly finished off their good work, and you see him line up here with an excellent kicking action straight through the middle.
Doesn't look like missing, does he? There's just some days when you feel that everything's going your way. I think he got off to a fly. He had 3 goals in the first quarter.
Yep.
Started well, always good for the confidence.
I think the benefit of that was that O'Brien wasn't finding the footy up forward, but to Peter Rhodes' benefit and luxury, Neal chipped in with 3 or 4 in the first half, and then we've seen O'Brien come good in the second half and been quite outstanding.
One fella's impressed me is Adam Crouch. His foot skills, that was a left footer straight down the throat of Christian O'Brien. O'Brien's kicked 5, he kicked 3 that term.
Doesn't matter what a fullback does when a full forward's been getting delivery from young players like Crouch and Gallagher. Just great to see.
I thought that goal from O'Brien was maybe the nail in the coffin, but Matty Broon for West Adelaide had different ideas. He kicked 2 goals, 2 important goals, to bring West Adelaide back within zone.
Just see Richardson had an opportunity before in the other quarter there to kick one from 55-60, and he showed a lot of maturity there. He just held on to it, and that was such a crucial goal for West Adelaide. At that stage, Norwood well and truly had the momentum for that whole quarter. Dion
Miles kicking that one. He got a very important one. Broon got a couple, and West Adelaide was suddenly back within 15 points, and we've certainly got a game on our hands. As we go to the three-quarter time scoreboard, it shows that West Adelaide struggled early, didn't they, Andrew? They were 11 points up at quarter time, 2 points down at half time, and I thought they were going to perhaps fade a little bit, or at half time it was going to be a 50-50 contest. Early in the third quarter I think they were struggling, but then they were able to fight back. Really just came back to that goal from Miles. I mean, he went back and kicked it from out nearly 50 metres out, and you could just see the West Adelaide players lift. We said in the call that if they had dropped their heads, Norwood would have ran over them, but they really showed a lot of courage then. Other matches around town this afternoon, it's Woodville Oval, the Eagles and Central, and the Eagles seem at three-quarter time in charge of that match, and they may well consolidate third position on the ladder if West Adelaide lose here today. And the other important match at Glenelg Oval, Glenelg and North, well, I think you can safely suggest that Glenelg are back. They really have struggled the last 4 or 5 years. Wooden Spooners last year. North Adelaide, you worry about them, and I guess a little wager between Tony McGuinness and Chris McDermott is going Tony's way. As we go down to Michael Parsons on the boundary, I guess the West Adelaide coach in Michael Taylor would be seeking every single drop from his boys at three-quarter time.
Yeah, exactly right, DB. He's looking to put some pressure on all the Norwood runners, make sure that they just get their second and third efforts, and he feels that's where You can hear the big row as the Norwood pack breaks up. They are fired up and ready to win, but the West Adelaide, they really need to lift up their second and third efforts. Richo, you'll see him start by himself in the goal square. He's going to be the man. Greg Mellor came out last week and kicked 5 in the last quarter, but they're looking for Adam Richardson to do that this week. Norwood, on the other hand, you can hear the crowd as they move away. Very positive atmosphere in their huddle. Spent a lot of time with Pitt and Bowman reorganising their back line, and also their big guys. I think you'll see Yerbury come out and take the first centre bounce, David.
Thanks, Michael, for that. Shots of Peter Rode and his players. A huge roar from the huddle. Peter Rode's got his team fired up. They're sitting 1 and 3 and struggling. They lost to North Adelaide in the opening round here under lights by 7 points. Then to Port Adelaide in round 2 by 59 points. Then off to the bye. And fortunately last week they defeated Central District at Elizabeth by 22 points to keep themselves in the hunt. A win here today is important for them. West Adelaide, of course, sitting third mark on the ladder, and you'd suggest that they couldn't afford to let this one slip today.
No, I said before the start of the game, David, I think this is the best West Adelaide side I think they can field. They've got plenty of experience out there, they've got plenty of youth as well, and they've just got marking forwards, they've got a good tight defence, they've got on balls of the names of Connell and also De Rossa and also Eagleton coming into it. The ruckman in big Mark Stewart really did start the game so well, but I just feel after that sort of first quarter, maybe the second quarter, you just felt as though the Norwood ruckman in Newbury and also Downsborough have got on top.
Well, stay with us. We are live until 5. I think you'll enjoy this final quarter on ABC Sport, live throughout South Australia and the Northern Territory. A 15-point ball game. West Adelaide fired up to overhaul the Redlegs. Stay with us till 5. Mark Nayley.
Ball's put down. We'll see Stewart tackle it again. Yerbury's come back on to replace Downsborough in the middle of the ground there. He contests the ruck. Downsborough's there, just flicks the ball out to the running Obbs. Obbs inside 50. Could be the first major. O'Brien puts the hands up. Maybe he should have let it go, Andrew Pays.
Certainly should have in hindsight. Great work there from Downsborough. Didn't take the footy, just flicked it to the running Obbs to stream forward there, and that was intelligent play. Just get the feeling the first 5 minutes is going to be absolutely crucial. If Norwood can get a few here, it just might be enough to get them home.
And Drisky over to Connell. Connell puts it up. Jones was in front there, couldn't take it. Harvey again at the front of the pack takes it, gives it across to Crouch now. Which way will Crouch go? He's trying to set something up. He goes around his body, blindly kicks and finds Connell in the back pocket. Connell chips it across to Richardson. Richardson's got Eagleton. They've got a chance here to build something. The player's running down. Eagleton comes inside, gives it back to Connell, who's working hard. Connell in the middle of the ground, just kicked the ball blindly again, so players really are putting themselves under pressure. Stewart was tackled by Yerbury again. In there again was Stewart and also Yerbury. Chance here now, coming out 27 is Howard. Howard kicks the ball up. Big Richardson's up there. Going back was Bassett and takes a good mark.
Underrated defender, Scott Bassett. Paisy.
Absolutely, big task today he's had on Richardson. He's kept him down to 3 goals, so that's an excellent result. Just see some tired legs out there at the moment. We said at 3/4 time the coach that had the option to put on some fresh legs was going to be a bonus, and players aren't running through the lines as much.
Push there, no, said the umpire. He's allowed the mark to stand to Mark Stewart. The big ruckman who was rested late in the 3rd quarter has done pretty well today in ruck for West Adelaide. A high bomb towards full forward. Richardson to target, front position, 2 bites of the cherry, and he's got it just outside 50.
Well, we know he's going to look for a pass here. He's had 2 shots from that range today and hasn't made the distance, so you get the feeling he might just hold on to this until he gets a better option or a lead.
Adam Richardson, who has had back and hamstring problems. I guess the question's about to be asked, isn't it? It's an important kick. As he kicks from 50, he would normally clear the distance, no stress or anxiety.
Was that touch? The back.
Symes didn't get there. Oh, it's carried. Well, I think it was a lucky goal.
Certainly wasn't lucky. It's not how, it's how many, and he really didn't time that ball well at all for his 4th, but it doesn't matter. It's just floated through the back, and that's going to give West Adelaide a real impetus.
The thing I liked about him, they gave him a little bit of space and they looked for him. I don't think they've done that all day particularly, and he just had enough space in front of Bassett. When he takes front position, he's almost impossible to shift.
Well, this really is going to build some character in these sides here. Whichever one can just hang on, can be mentally tough enough to be able to go on with this game. It's there to be won. Either West Adelaide can get back from their 10-point margin, they're down at the moment, or whether Redlegs can extend theirs. De Rossa comes up with it. He's taken there, looked like Dawes, trying to tackle him. Back there was Howe. Can he keep the ball in? He does. He comes off a Norwood leg, maybe out of bounds on the full. It is. Down at boundary level, I'm sure he's nearby, is Michael Parsons.
Yeah, he's got a good view of that one, out of bounds on the full for sure, but the benches to start the last quarter as there's a chance for a mark in the forward line again. Gray, Ansell and Chubb sitting down for West Adelaide. And John Cunningham, 2 weeks in a row, he's spent some time on the bench. Bown and Malloy for Norwood.
Very interesting call to have Cunningham sitting on the bench. I mean, is there any doubt about injury at all, Michael, or has it just been form?
No, I think you'd find he's been reasonably quiet over the last couple of quarters, boys.
Oh, Richardson's marked it. The big fella's got it. Well, Symes was clever because he just banged it onto his boot in desperation, but it was just enough and just enough distance for Symes to get the 10 metres so that Richardson could mark. Well, isn't this interesting? West Adelaide trail by 10 points. Richardson has the ball, point-blank range, tight angle, and a goal here brings them back within 4 points.
I'd love to see a stat this afternoon on the number of times that Timothy Symes has taken the ball out of a boundary throw-in.
Left footer, Richardson goes for goal. I think he likes it. It's a goal, so they're back within 4 points, West Adelaide. An emotion flowing their way, and the momentum swings to the Bloods.
Well and truly has. Richardson, that's his 5th goal. And good point about Symes before. I reckon he's been invaluable up forward for West Adelaide. Not only has he done the hard work around the boundary line, but we've seen him in and underneath the packs, creating opportunities for his younger blokes there. So the West Adelaide Tools have done very well today.
14-13 plays 14-9, 97 plays 93, a 4-point ball game. The Bloods again through Stewart with his hands the ball. The free kick will come back to De Rosa, who's got Andriski out wide. He needs to use him. He does that. Andriski can run and he can kick a long ball. He's got a player leading. It's out. Connell's run from the middle of the ground. Great work by Matthew Connell. Good work there by Jamie Andriski.
Different sort of courage, Andrew, isn't it? Running hard late in the game.
Absolutely, and it's exactly going to come down to fitness as well. And we just see where West Adelaide have just gained a little bit of momentum and they seem to be running hard. Matt Connell, he knows how to find the gaps too.
Matt Connell puts it on its way. Great kick. Adam Richardson thumps the air. It's a goal. Matty Connell, the Bloods are back in front, fellas.
Back in front, the Bloods, and what a fantastic game of footy we've got here. We'd said before the side that could get a few early goals was going to get the momentum, and it's been West Adelaide that's come out and really run Norwood ragged, and you just get the feeling that the midfielders there, they've run out of legs through the midfield for Norwood.
6 of the last 7 goals have gone to West Adelaide. Bruner's been amongst them. Richardson has got a couple. And West Adelaide suddenly look a different side. The ball was smothered out of the middle. Crashing through was Hodges. He's been attacking all day. Dantokia, who's been dour. And Gallagher, who has been spectacular today, playing off his wing. He's got Connell now. What a compliment that is. Eagleton and Connell to contend with it. He's playing pretty well. Davey, who started on the bench. The vice-captain goes long. O'Brien, one-handed attempt. Good work, Parker. He's a quality defender and forced that one just across the line.
Not an easy man to move, O'Brien. We've seen that there today. But Parker's done well under pressure. Just made the spoil and forced it through for a point. So the Bloods are really pumped up here at the moment.
14-4, 98, 15-9, 99. The Bloods by 1 point. This is SANFL football at its best. Eagleton has got better as the game's got longer. Richardson can see the player out wide. That's a magnificent kick to find Bannock. Bannock now around his body, put on a fair bit of pressure there. 23 running hard, it was Hurd. Was Bird, not Hurd. I'm sure they'd like to be someone like James Hurd out here this afternoon. It'd be great for the competition.
Doug will get him if he can.
Be a luxury we'll never afford. Wouldn't be any good at the moment anyway.
Chaps, you mentioned Nathan Eggleton. He's got a defensive job now on OBS, so that's an interesting call from Michael Taylor.
Oh, Bassett was great. Richardson got him, just collecting him on the run through. And Clements forces out wide, and Gallagher goes into the gutter.
Oh, that was a big hit there, Andrew Page.
Absolutely
great work, great courage by Bassett.
Great courage by Bassett. Forced the error, just ran. Oh, it was only for the footy, and you got cleaned up there, but that was well done by Norwood. They're not out of this game by any stretch of the imagination.
Downsborough, very slick to Harvey, who's been very good today, finding plenty of the ball to O'Brien. One bite, couldn't take it. Parker handballs across the face. Ed Richardson's almost run down, but he got the kick away. The target was number 11 in Dion Miles, but it was stolen away by James. Look at this, Neil's got it inside 50. Spaces. No, Doreen's got it. Neil's just lurking. Neil's it, and he's got it. Well, there were two targets, weren't there? Neil was there, Doreen was there.
Certainly had plenty of options. What an important turnover back here. Miles had 30 or 40 metres on his own. The kick went over his head. Roger James read it and squared it inside, and bad error from the West Adelaide defence there. Had plenty of time to find his mark.
We'll stay with this one. Neil has 6 goals, 3 in the first, 2 in the second, and he bends this one around. Everything's going right, isn't it? You don't get a better kick from distance than that. Just bent it back beautifully, and no breeze. 7 goals to Robert Neil.
Just the perfect option there. Squared it up there and just brought the banana kick around. That's when you're confident. 7 goals straight. Probably could have gone back and kicked it either way, and it would have gone straight through the middle, and he has had a day out.
Well, this went right angles. Now, I wouldn't advise that to any young players at home, possibly. I would have just kept going straight through, because he really has been on song this afternoon.
Well, it's usually a kick you reserve for being a lot closer to goal there, and he's done that from about 35 metres, but it doesn't matter when they go straight through the middle.
Well, a 5-point margin in favour of the Redlegs now. We see Connell, who's really had a good game as well. Very hard to pick the best players here this afternoon. I know you would have to put Doreen in there, or Robert Neil in there, sorry, and Doreen as well, but there's been a lot of good players. Gallagher, right through Bowman, even Bassett at fullback. It's just a lot of good players up throughout the side. Even Newbury, the big ruckman for Norwood.
Certainly have to throw in Obbs there for a couple of his efforts.
Now, they're not aware, West Adelaide defenders, are they? Because Robert Neil's got a smack on the nose and he's bleeding, and here comes the ball, and O'Brien's got it, so it wasn't all that important, but had the West Adelaide defenders called the blood rule, would have stopped everything. And now O'Brien, who's kicked 5, marks 35 metres out, almost directly in front, slight angle, and he'll go for goal number 6.
Just see the clean delivery into the forward line again, perfect. The lead was spot on, he got out in front. Ball was kicked out in front of him, he didn't have to move. What could the defender do then? Absolutely nothing.
Nothing Parker could do.
Matty Dawes off for the Redlegs. Malloy preparing to come on as O'Brien goes for goal number 6. The Redlegs lead by 5 points. This gives them a little bit of breathing space, but it's a point. So it's one straight kick the distance in a tough encounter at the Parade.
Can't believe we've seen it. I mean, O'Brien's kicked a point. Just hasn't happened. It's his second point for the day, but really between him and Neil, they've been absolutely spot on with their kicking.
Big thumping kick by Richardson. I think he's trying to get it out there, trying to find Andriski, who's kicked every ball in from defence this afternoon. And the turnovers occurred. Norwood have numbers. Crouch, running Norwood players go in again. It's up high. Good work by Parker over the top. The delivery that time to O'Brien wasn't as good as last, but O'Brien's kept the ball in. Great work. It looks like James, the majestic James, has brought up his first goal from the half-back flank, and the Redlegs now go out to a 12-point margin.
Great pressure there from the Norwood forwards. They've kept the ball live here. Could have easily put it out. Broome tried to get the ball out. Todd Davies just flicked it back inside to O'Brien. Had options there, square up through the middle, and certainly a great finish from Roger James then.
That is absolutely something out of nothing. Davey to O'Brien to Roger James was outstanding as we go down to Michael Parsons on the boundary.
Yes, as you called it, David. Come on, he's gone to the back line, and that's released James to come back up into the midfield for Norwood, and his legs should still be reasonably fresh and add a little bit more run through that section of the ground.
Green to Downsborough was clever. Let's see if West Adelaide can find something. They need to dig deep. Richardson marks beautifully. Great courage backing back. Plays on quickly. Connell finds the target, hits Toomey. Inboard is the runner. Off goes Eagleton. Gee, if ever they need a lift from him, it's right now. Bannock gave him a good shepherd. A long bomb out wide. It was DeRosa running through the midfield. Spears it long and low. Oh, it's a mark to Mellor. Well, this is a game and a half and it's got everything.
It's coming back to fresh legs again. We saw Eagleton just took that extra bounce, ran that little bit further through the midfield and created the opportunity, and a clean pass into the forward line creates another chance for West Adelaide.
Greg Mellor has 3 goals, 1. The skipper.
Very reliable kick for goal, David, normally.
The one you want. They're 12 points down. This one brings them back within a kick yet again. He stays over the top of it. The goal umpire likes it. Mellor likes it. 4 goals on the board for the skipper, and that's an important kick.
Been a goal-kicking frenzy, and players that have just needed to kick goals at crucial times. Mellor then, and we saw down the other end, O'Brien and Neil have done it as well, and this is just a fantastic game of footy. Just the side that can run it out the fastest and can be cleaner with their ball handling is going to be able to come out with the points.
Eagle and Obbs having a bit of a push and a shove here on the boundary line. Obbs has been let go this afternoon. They're pushing and shoving still, but if we get back to the play, Downsborough takes it, looks for Obbs. Couple of speedsters here. Eagleton should get this now, take it away. He breaks one tackle, then accelerates away. Malloy's there from behind, goes for the spoil. First there was great work there by Mellor. The tackle on Signs was just as good, holding the ball, and the free kick will be paid to Malloy.
Malloy's come on for fresh legs, laid a tackle on straight away. He's going to be crucial.
James from the outer wing. Time ticking away, 14 minutes 50 gone on the time clock. The Redlegs lead by a goal and they're attacking through Crouch. Deep at right half forward. His foot skills are exemplary, hits the target.
He's going to be waiting for a lead up the middle there. Definitely want to square it.
Puts it in, Neil. Front position, loose ball. Harvey couldn't take it. Andriski goes to the back door. Bannock had the ball smothered. It forces its way out to Toomey, the former Norwood player. Andriski again is clever, straight down the throat of Mellor. He'll play on quickly. West Adelaide need to get the ball moving into their forward zone, get their runners running, but Lachlan Bowman sits back defensively. The defender holds West Adelaide up, chips it in. Who's the target? Hodges couldn't quite take it. Bannock at the back door. Andriski non-preferred leg, looking for Eagleton. Well, he's in just a half pace, Eagleton. Needs some support, doesn't get it. Gathered in, across the line. What do you reckon?
Got to be holding the ball.
Throw in, says the
umpire. Got to be
umpire.
holding the ball. Had plenty of opportunity to get rid of it. Thought he could take him on and got tackled. Definitely holding the ball for mine, Nails.
Another lesson to be learnt. Eagleton was running half pace to take that football. Had no urgency about it at all. In this stage of the game, when you're so close, 6 points down, every ball has to be hit as though it's going to be your last for the afternoon.
Certainly did appear to be a little bit casual then.
James takes it. We'll just chip it forward to Harvey now. Harvey, he'll take off. He tips one out of bounds on the fall. Boundary umpire right on the spot. Will come back to Howard. So Howard, half-back flank. Looks around. She needs to put the ball up. The small West Adelaide players need to hit the front of the pack here if they want to go forward with it. The back is Connell. He throws his boot. Very well done was that. Couldn't quite find a bit of ground. See Pitt going back with the flight of the ball, takes the mark in his hands.
And hasn't Pitt shut down Miles?
Miles got away to an explosive start. He had 5 marks in the first quarter, but he, except for that goal that he kicked in the third quarter, he really has been unsighted.
Sam Jones and Gabe number 50 gives it away to Toomey, who has Hodges running. Gee, they're getting half pace. West Adelaide. What's that?
Oh, no.
They had players up forward. I was looking for the next kick on because I just thought it was going to happen. They had players loose inside 50. You just need to get over.
As we go down to Michael Parsons on the boundary.
Yeah, both coaches still looking to get the runners through the midfield, with Cunningham coming on for Todd Davey, tiring in his first game, and Chubb will come on for Jones for West Adelaide.
17.5 minutes gone, 111, plays 105. It's a 6-point ball game at the Parade. Chubb preparing to come on, as Michael Parsons just told us. And in other matches around town, we'll pause. The Eagles 100, Central 70. Looks like the Eagles will take that. And Glenelg, big winners over North Adelaide at Glenelg. So 2 percentage boosting wins for the Eagles.
You have to say that both of those results would be pretty predictable.
Oh, I wouldn't have thought necessarily, but there you go, Eagleton.
Both favourites have won there.
Symes inside 50, spears it towards goals. Oh, has he kicked it? Symes has, he's kicked it. Scores are locked away. We're 18.5 minutes into the final quarter at the Bray, live on ABC Sport, and scores are locked away.
Fantastic stuff. Symes' first goal, but he has done a lot of hard work, and great to see him get a reward for that, and what a time to do it. Straight through the middle, and we've got a ball game on our hands now. Locked away.
Plenty of feeling out here.
Fantastic stuff.
Players on the half-forward line for the Bloods there. Lockie Bowman, they're pushing and shoving. They realise just how important this game is. West need to consolidate. Norwood just need to win games. Ball comes back, comes forward towards Dobbs. In there is Doreen. He's been outstanding this afternoon. Back to Harvey. Pressure again on. It's around his body. Great kick under pressure. They spoil each other, the Norwood forward players. Bannock's in there. The ball will stay in. Gives it up to Cunningham. Cunningham can go over the top. Just chips it forward. Great vision. Great disposal there by Cunningham. And that player can't be, can it? It is Robert Hill. And which way will he go this time?
Is he going to go back and go for the angle, or will he go straight up? Whatever he's going to do, he's got a fair chance of kicking a goal. Has not missed one today.
He'll come out wide again. He'll bring the ball back. He's not quite far enough out. It's a behind, but that puts him back in front.
Can't blame him for doing that. It worked the first time. Perhaps a little bit further out that time. What a zone, very important here for Norwood. Got to hold the ball in the area. And West Adelaide will be looking for a quick clearance straight down the middle.
Mark Stewart is sitting in the corridor, but the ball goes short to Matty Connell. He's got a target, and he forces it over the top to Toomey. Good shepherd from Richardson. That was well played. A high ball. Mark Stewart underneath this one. 2 minutes and a sharp crash through. Claimed by Neil. Neil's doing well, isn't he? What a game. It's been an absolute treat for him today. Bannock, taken high, goes back, takes the free kick. Easy as you like. Andriski in the corridor. Here goes Hodges. Watch him take off. Andriski goes bang. Parker comes to provide a shepherd on Cunningham. Andriski can run it right down the middle. Forces it forward. There's Mellor. Oh, here's a danger player. 45 metres out, directly in front of the skipper. And he's already kicked 4 goals.
Just come back to that running Andriski a little bit further. Ran with a footy, waited till he had an option. Greg Muller provided up the middle, and he hit him right where he wanted to be. Straight on the chest.
What about the support? Sorry, David.
Parker.
From Parker. He must have been talking to him the whole time. You got a yard, I'm there to help you. Great work by Parker as well.
4 goals, 1 from 6 kicks for the skipper. This one, a crucial kick. Drifting, dropping short. Symes was there. Who's there? DeRosa's got it. Desperate work on the line by Bassett. Forced it across and conceded the point.
David, you won't tip aside at the best of times. Are you going to put your money anyone now?
How could you? 21.5 minutes in. Scores locked away and a dead set contest.
We just want you to make a statement, that's all. That's all we're looking for.
Malloy takes it. Will he panic? He doesn't. He puts it high, looking forward. Going back will be Bannock in the front position. The ball's taken by Downsborough. Left leg, not renowned for his left foot. Great spoil there by Andriski. Obbs is taken behind by Ilgerton. Not got a chance. Robert Hill, the man at the moment. Oh, he's overrun the football. Great tackle by Richardson from behind. 13 is Dawes. Dawes chips it out in front of the path of Johnny Cunningham.
Cunningham's come off the bench. He's chasing hard and running hard. He's just got that little bit of momentum, and he's going to be very important in his last 10 minutes.
Still plenty of time to go in this game. We've only played 22 minutes, so a good 6 minutes left. Cunningham needs to line up and kick the goal. He goes out a little bit wide, puts it on its way. It's a beautiful kick by Cunningham. The umpire comes into the top of the square, and one behind. Am I sitting in the wrong position?
Certainly looked like a goal from where we were, straight behind the goals, but obviously not there in the right spot. Still nothing in it.
Yeah, good call.
1 point ball game. Who's got the run? Just going to come down to who can run over the lines and create something for their teammates and move it quick. And
very good. Toomey's out there. He run past him. He needs to get the ball moving. Out there is Miller. This way the ball goes. Miller will jump at this. Good spoil from behind. The big ruckman and Stewart needs assistant. Andruski has just been sensational in this last quarter. Up high, Symes just puts a bit of pressure on, pushes his player forward in Bowman, but Bowman takes it from the pack. Coming into Crash. Now what can Crash do? He plays it round his left bed, puts it up high. Now 22 back there could take it. He couldn't quite get his hands to it, and Hodges at ground level goes back again. Andruski's in there. Desperation shown there by Niels. The ball's out. I don't think it has. The umpire will come in and blow his whistle and ball it up. 1 point margin still favouring the Redlegs. Bit of cramp there shown by Gallagher, but he's been in absolutely everything this afternoon. Kid's got plenty of ability, plenty of skill.
At the bounce, Neil over the top, thumps the ball forward. Andruski to go off the ground. Had an airy, missed completely. Good work, Gallagher lets Cam through. Ham goes over the top, and it's James running. He's 50 out, he comes forward, he can thread this. He's a finisher, but this time he missed. It's a
David, Roger James, clean mover, and he's put some drive through the midfield.
16-18, 1-1-4. Plays West Adelaide 17-10, 1-12. 2-point ball game. Players out wide again. It's not he couldn't be. It is. He's running hard. Ball across. The running player and shove. Didn't get the ball. The next time wasn't that good. Ham goes over the top. A chance for the ball to be taken. It is great. Shown. There's great desperation shown by both sides out here. James in the middle of the ground. That's the direction it goes. The mark's taken by Ops. Gives it back to James. James will set this up. A terrible kick again by James. Nine eyes for the football. Well done. This could end up in a goal. Go over the top. It won't. Comes back as Harvey. Chips it up. Kicks the goal. 7-point margin. 8-point margin now. That could be enough. Andrew Pays.
Brings up his first goal for the day, and what a time to do it too. Had the option, could have gone over the top to Neil. Chose to take it on himself and got around that player and kicked it straight through the middle. And that's a great goal. Can West Adelaide bounce back?
Well, is there enough time, to be fair? Time running out for West Adelaide.
They've been able to do it today. It'll come down to this clearance. They'll have to do it straight away.
Norwood lead by 8 points. The bounce. West Adelaide win the tap. Falls down to James. Has been very solid. High ball, Ed Richardson over the top. Couldn't complete the tap. Gathers it in, takes it around. Tries to fly it out the back. Harvey, quick work to Doreen. Doreen forces it over the top. It's all over. Post. A goal there, and West Adelaide will go 26 minutes in.
Well, they clear it out now. If they can't clear this out from this point, West Adelaide, you'd have to say they're just about gone. Well and truly gone. Need a real fast clearance here now.
Yerbury over the top, thumps the ball down. Neil will find a left leg. He has got one. It's up in the high in the air. The flyers are from behind. O'Brien was there, quickly gives the ball across, trying to find Dawes. Dawes couldn't take it, and the ball comes out. Chance of West Adelaide now to bring the ball forward. Gets support from Stewart. Stewart chipped the ball in towards the centre. DeRoss is running hard. It's over the top of his head. With him is Dan Toshier. Coming across will be Symes. He'll take this, gives the handball. Looking for Gray. Gray takes it, taken high. The umpire will pay the free kick. Needs to get the ball moving quickly. As Troy Gray just come on to replace Boone. Goes over the top. It up. We know they need a mark. It's right now. Couldn't quite get his hands up quickly enough. Mellor's in there. Good exchange of hands there. From to Malloy. Back to Dan Toshier. Comes out the Bowman. Where's Bowman going? Safety of the boundary line.
Going where he should.
This time of the game, didn't have to go anywhere else. He's smart enough and experienced enough just to get down the clock and push it out of bounds, and Norwood at the moment.
7 minutes gone, final term in the play. The Redlegs lead by 9 points. I suspect they should hold on from here. Yerbury on that bird, a long bomb into space. Oh, well done, Matty Dawes. Bannick just held his line, and Dawes was just courageous. Near the top, Bannick was there again, and Matty Dawes was clean. But what great courage
Yeah, fantastic effort there from the young fella. He got up real strong, eyes only for the footy, and inspiration.
Victory to the Redlegs out of the road.
Players lying on the ground, left, right and centre. They're absolutely exhausted.
They are spent in the toughest games we've seen. Played for 4 quarters at top pace. I don't know you'll see many better games than that anywhere. A tight one in the finish. The Redlegs holding on by 9 points, thanks, I guess, to 7 magnificent goals to Robert Neal and 5 great goals to Christian O'Brien.
No question about that. Game seized all day. No one really gained any ascendancy until right at the end. We just saw Norwood. We had a few more fresh legs. John Cunningham came on and spark. Todd Davey moved on and gave them something, and they just got over at the end. But West Adelaide, they should be very, very proud of that performance. They were in it right until the end.
See the players came off the field, go down. Michael Watson's.
Yes, and with me, probably the star of the day, kicking a lot of goals. I'm not sure what the count was, Robert, but a great victory for Norwood Club.
Great victory. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, we went into the Easter break thumping from Port, so the guys really hurt, and we've worked really hard on the track. I mean, you can just see the desperation. Matthew Dawes in that last one. You probably wouldn't have seen that a couple of weeks ago, and that stuff makes a difference, and the difference on the scoreboard reflects.
And your own form, mate, you must be pretty pleased when they start to come together like that, particularly the 30-metre boomerang kick from the right side.
Yeah, if they work out all right, all being good, one sort of let me down at the end as well, but I was up there to do a job, and I was just glad I could finish off the great work from the guys at field.
Christian O'Brien is a good foil up there. He's starting to play some good football as well.
Look, he's been model of consistency. I think he's kicked 3, 5, 4 and 5 or something the last few games, and if he fires and I can kick my 2 or 3 a week and compliment Christian, well, that's my job anyway.
And you've got some young kids that started to give some good run through the midfield, Crouch in particular.
Adam Crouch has been sensational. He had a pre-season at Sydney and it's definitely shown in his work rate. Matthew Dawes, James Gallagher, all these guys who played in a reserves premiership last year that we really worked on, and we didn't recruit as many guys because we wanted to push these young blokes.
Fantastic, a great game of footy here at the parade, and congratulations again on your own game.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you to Robert Neal. Certainly a great game. 7 goals, match-winning performance. And forward now for South Adelaide Friday night under the lights at Adelaide Oval next week. A tough assignment.
Absolutely. What a great game of footy. That'll give them a lot of confidence.
Now, what about
your best? They needed a win today.
Now, what about your best players today? Difficult to do.
I could go past New. 7 goals, fantastic. O'Brien kicked 5, and I thought Hobbs, Crouch and Gallagher through the middle there all played well.
The argument for West Adelaide?
Well, they had a number of good players. Both sides were looking with good players today. Richardson had his moments. I thought Yanni Bruin played well, and also just Nathan Eagleton and also Matthew Connell from the Crows tried hard as well.
Quarter time, it was 4 goals, 6 goals, 4 in West Adelaide. At half time, 9-8 to 9-6. It was a 2-point ball game. 3-quarter time, Norwood 15. We thought maybe the Redlegs would hold the upper sway, but West Adelaide came and really made a game of it. As we go to the goals, it shows Neal kicked 7 goals, 1 for the Redlegs, and for West Adelaide lead for them, who kicked 5 goals straight.
Well done, and Miller kicked 4 as well.
In other matches today, the Eagles defeated Central, Glenelg defeated North. Don't forget to join us live 2 p.m. Monday when we do the match, grand final rematch between Port and Sturgeon. Last night in the AFL was the Western Bulldogs getting up over Richmond. Today, Carlton and Geelong at the Optus Oval. It was the Cats holding sway there. West defeated Hawthorn, away a win for them. Melbourne got over the top of Port Adelaide. Tonight it's the Kangaroos and St Kilda at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Adelaide and Sydney tomorrow at Football Park, and Essendon Collingwood at the MCG. Fremantle and the Brisbane Lions at Subiaco, and next week in the SAFL it's Norwood South at Adelaide Oval. The round of the Eagles and Sturt match at Woodville Oval, live on ABC at 2:15. Central Port, Western Glenelg. North, of course, have the bye as Western Glenelg travel to Lamoureux. It should be a great game. Don't forget, if you want a video of this, I think there'll be a few people who would. It's $34.95. You can dial that number, 8343 4601 for your match of the day. I think you would have enjoyed that, Andrew. I think if you had $34.95, it would be money well spent.
Absolutely. what a great game of footy, and if most of the games this year go like that, then we're in for a treat, and it really sets Norwood up to go forward.
We've enjoyed that. We hope you enjoyed that one. Join us Monday at 2 p.m. We now join the early stages of last night's match between the Titans and the Adelaide 36ers, and the 36ers won.